Chapter 434. There are indeed quite a few people. Kuro nodded. After all, they were not too far away from the entrance. He and Faye could also sense the aura of the Emperor-level experts there. Immediately after, Qin Yu and the other two flew towards the entrance. When they approached, Qin Yu could truly sense the size of half a planet formed by the cosmic fragmentary golden stream. It could even be said to be boundless. From afar it still looked like a sphere. However, when they flew closer, Qin Yu and the others could clearly sense that it seemed to be a flat surface. Endless fragmentary golden stream covered the entire place. At a glance, it seemed as though the entire place was golden. There was only one place, a round hole with a diameter of about 10 meters, that was not golden. This round hole was faintly black in color. Only a weak light would occasionally flow through it. Qin Yu and the other two flew to the front of the round hole. Qin Yu frowned. According to the rough description on the map, the entrance to the bewitching god temple should be open. However, Qin Yu discovered that this passageway was sealed by a restriction. The round hole's surface was covered by a layer of transparent film. On the transparent film, different kinds of light were faintly flowing. Immortal elemental energy, demonic elemental energy, demonic elemental energy. There are actually 3 kinds of energy auras. Qin Yu frowned. The transparent film formed by the restriction actually contained so many different kinds of auras. Qin Yu's immortal awareness had long discovered that behind this transparent film, there was a group of Emperor-level experts inside the round hole. Suddenly, the 3 of you should quickly leave. The leaders of the forces of the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and Demon Realm have already reached an agreement. From today onwards, this bewitching god temple will be sealed. No one is allowed to enter. A sound transmission sounded in the minds of Qin Yu and the other two. Qin Yu could even see through the transparent film and see the figures of many people 7 to 8 meters behind it. The one who transmitted the sound was definitely one of them. Big brother, what's going on? This passageway has been sealed just like that. Ho Fei asked in confusion. And it's the agreement of all the forces of the 3 realms. What exactly is going on? Qin Yu also shook his head. He knew nothing about this. I'll go ask Ao Wuming. Qin Yu directly took out the transmission secret array from the Jianglan's realm. The transmission secret array directly floated in the outer space. Qin Yu entered into the transmission secret array and sent a transmission to Ao Wuming. After a short while, Qin Yu frowned and came out. At the same time, he put away the secret communication array. How is it? Kuro also looked at Qin Yu. Qin Yu shook his head. Not long ago, the Pang Demon Emperor, the Dragon Emperor and all the other leaders of the 3 realms gathered in one place and came to a common agreement. According to the agreement, this channel would only be opened once every 10,000 years. During normal times it would be sealed. 10,000 years. How long do we have to wait? Ho Fei said unhappily. Qin Yu shook his head and smiled disdainfully. No, even after 10,000 years, we still won't have the qualifications to enter. According to their agreement, after 10,000 years, only the leaders of the Immortal Realm, Demon Realm, and Devil Realm could send people in, and the chances of entering were pitifully small. There is only one spot in the entire Immortal Realm. Kuro and Ho Fei immediately understood. The agreement of the 3 leaders of the 3 realms was to completely exclude the lone experts or the experts of small powers, making them unable to obtain the divine artifacts of the bewitching god temple. Too despicable. Ho Fei angrily scolded. Qin Yu sneered and said. According to what Ao Wuming said, this barrier is called the 8-9 Space Sealing Array. Its defensive power is so strong that even if several level 9 immortal emperors were to join hands, they would still not be able to break through it. However, I would like to give it a try and see if it is as powerful as they said it to be. Qin Yu flicked his leg. The 9 steps force had completely penetrated through every part of his leg. His strength had reached the pinnacle. Ruthlessly, his leg fiercely stomped on that transparent membrane. Qin Yu was confident that this stomp of his would definitely be able to pierce through a planet. Bang! A very soft sound. Qin Yu felt as if he had kicked cotton. His boundless attack power had been completely neutralized. The transparent membrane merely rippled and was not damaged in the slightest. Qin Yu couldn't help but be shocked. His entire body was comparable to a mid-quality divine artifact. His strength was so strong that even in the dinosaur clan in another parallel space, there would likely not be many people stronger than him. However, his full-strength stomp was actually unable to damage this barrier in the slightest. Big brother. Hou Fei's expression changed. The defensive power of this barrier is indeed astonishing. I reckon that only Wu Lan would be able to break through it. Don't waste time, it's impossible for you all to break through it. The Emperor-level expert on the other side of the transparent membrane said via voice transmission. Evidently they were very confident. Before asking Wu Lan to help, Qin Yu and his brothers had first joined hands to attack the barrier. However, in front of the 8-9 space sealing array, Qin Yu and his brothers were actually unable to break through the 8-9 space sealing array. Qin Yu thought of every possible method. He even asked He Tong to help persuade Wu Lan. Finally, he managed to ask Wu Lan to help break through the 8-9 space sealing array. When Qin Yu, Hou Fei, Kuro and Wu Lan joined hands. Unfortunately, even with the four of them joining hands, they were still unable to break through the 8-9 space sealing array. Big brother, what should we do? Hou Fei looked to the transparent membrane and then looked to Qin Yu helplessly. Qin Yu also found it hard to believe. His own attack power was definitely comparable to two level 9 immortal emperors. Hou Fei and Kuro both possessed attack power equivalent to a level 9 immortal emperor. Wu Lan estimated that his attack power was equivalent to 5 or 6 level 9 immortal emperors. However, even with so many people joining hands, they were still unable to break through the 8-9 space sealing array. This is the last time. Qin Yu clenched his teeth. Have Yi Chu and Ao Wushu come help too? I refuse to believe that with so many experts joining hands, we will still be unable to break through this thing. Wu Lan also looked to this transparent membrane, in disbelief. He was also unable to believe that this transparent membrane actually possessed such a defensive power. Yi Chu and Ao Wushu appeared beside everyone out of thin air. Brother Qin Yu, is that true? Is this transparent membrane really as powerful as you said it to be? Said Yi Chu in shock. Qin Yu nodded his head. He was still in a state of shock. This thing's defensive power was too frightening. If this thing were to be used to trap someone, who would be able to escape? What Qin Yu didn't know was that the 8-9 space sealing array required 72 Emperor-level experts to set up. To gather so many experts at once, not many powers would be able to do so. Secondly, this 8-9 space sealing array was very complicated to set up. If one were to use this 8-9 space sealing array to trap someone, it was likely that the person would have already escaped before the array was set up. Thirdly, and most importantly, the reason why this 8-9 space sealing array before them was so powerful was because its defensive area was very small. It was merely a circular hole. If the 8-9 space sealing array was to be used to defend a circular hole with a circumference of several thousand miles, then Qin Yu alone would be able to break through it. Other than the small area, there was another important reason. The people who set up the array came from the immortal realm, devil realm and monster realm. This 8-9 space sealing array was very peculiar. The more heterogeneous the energy of the people who set up the array, the stronger its defensive power. Originally, with merely 72 monster emperors setting up the array, its defensive power was strong enough to block the attacks of 5 to 6 Emperor-level experts. And now, these 72 Emperor-level experts came from 3 different powers. With heterogeneous energy, the defensive power had actually increased by a lot. As for exactly how much the defensive power had increased, no one had been able to test it out yet. Everyone get ready. Attack together. Qin Yu said through sound transmission. Qin Yu, Hou Fei, Kuro, Wu Lan, Yi Chu and Ao Wushu, the 6 of them simultaneously stored up their power to the extreme. Attack! The 6 of them attacked at the same time. When these 6 great experts joined hands, their attack power was frighteningly strong. With a rumbling sound, the full-strength attacks of the 6 of them all landed on the transparent membrane. That transparent membrane actually started to violently tremble. However, after a short moment, it regained its tranquility. Failure. The 6 of them joining hands actually still failed. Qin Yu, Hou Fei, Wu Lan, Ao Wushu and the rest of the 6 of them looked to each other. Their eyes were filled with shock. Currently, the power of the 6 of them joining hands was so strong that even a level 9 immortal emperor would likely be turned into ashes in an instant. However, their combined full-strength attack was still unable to shake the 8-9 space sealing array. Qin Yu, let me return to the Zhonglan's realm. Ao Wushu took a deep breath. The cold and aloof Ao Wushu also displayed a rare expression of shock. And at this moment, he had even given up. The combined attack of the 6 of them was still unable to open the 8-9 space sealing array. It was likely that there was no other way. Qin Yu nodded and allowed Ao Wushu to return to the Zhonglan's realm. Fuck, this is too abnormal. If we were to fight against someone with this defense, who would be able to break through it? Hou Fei's eyes were trembling. The defensive power of the 8-9 space sealing array had completely shocked him. Qin Yu started to laugh. Its defensive power is indeed very strong. However, who would be able to instantly set up such a formation array in the middle of a battle? What you've said is simply impossible. Qin Yu had left out a bit. In order to set up this formation array, it would require 72 Emperor-level experts. Kuro looked to Qin Yu. Big brother, this entrance has been sealed and we are unable to open it. What do we do next? Kuro also did not know what to do next. Sealing the entrance is only sealing the entrance to the demon realm. The entrance to the Dark Star realm is not sealed. Let's go there. Qin Yu said with a smile. Hou Fei and Kuro's eyes both shined. Qin Yu, stop dreaming, said Yichu while laughing. Wu Lan, who stood to the side, also nodded and said, Qin Yu, the entrance to the Dark Star realm is something that only people from the Dark Star realm are allowed to enter. There is also no way for them to enter. Qin Yu was slightly startled. Yes. What's going on? Why don't you think about it? If outsiders were able to enter the Dark Star realm through the entrance, then would the Peng Demon Emperor and them still be able to seal off the entrance? Back then, Immortal Emperor and I Yang possessed such a good relationship with the Black Flame Lord and the White Profound Lord. Yet, he was still not allowed to enter the Dark Star realm's entrance. From this you should know how strict this rule is, said Wu Lan while smiling. Qin Yu understood. If An Yang was able to enter the Dark Star realm through the entrance, then he would not have ended up entering the Dark Star realm together with Emperor Yu and them and lose his life due to his carelessness. Qin Yu suddenly had a thought. Wu Lan, Yichu, do the two of you know how people from the Dark Star realm differentiate between their own people and those from the outside world? Qin Yu asked. From Qin Yu's point of view, the strength of the people in the Dark Star realm was also different. With his current strength, it was likely that there would not be many people in the Dark Star realm that could match him. Wu Lan smiled and said, I'm not too sure about that. However, I do know one thing. The people from the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and the Demon Realm, regardless of how powerful they are, would still be easily discovered by the people from the Dark Star Realm. Haha, I'll try to barge into the Dark Star Realm, Qin Yu suddenly said. Wu Lan and Yi Chu were slightly startled. Yi Chu hurriedly said, Qin Yu, if you were to go to the Dark Star Realm and be discovered, you would be chased and killed. Oh, that's right, you possess the blazing profound ring. Perhaps there might be a chance for you to turn things around. However, the Black Flame Lord and the White Profound Lord possess strange temperaments. Although they were good to Immortal Emperor and I Yang, they might not be good to you. Qin Yu, however, merely smiled. Currently, he had only trained in 2 types of martial techniques. The first was the stellar transformation. The energy of the stellar transformation was currently in the stellar space. Qin Yu did not believe that the people from the Dark Star Realm would be able to discover the energy in another space. The second was the 9 steps dark gold body. It was a body-refining martial technique. As the people from the Dark Star Realm were also body refiners, he might be able to successfully impersonate them. Furthermore, even if his impersonation were to fail, with Qin Yu's current strength, who would he be afraid of? As long as he did not provoke the Black Flame Lord and the White Profound Lord, there would be no problem. As for the Gold Punishment Lord, the previous Gold Punishment Lord had already ascended to the Divine Realm. It was still uncertain whether a new Gold Punishment Lord would be born. Wu Lan, Yi Chu, the two of you had followed an Yang into the Dark Star Realm. I wish to know, if I were to impersonate someone from the Dark Star Realm while training in the 9 Steps Dark Gold Body, would the people from the Dark Star Realm be able to recognize me? Qin Yu asked. Wu Lan was slightly startled. Yi Chu immediately reacted and laughed out loud. Qin Yu, I can tell you with certainty that you've trained in the 9 Steps Dark Gold Body. If you were to impersonate an expert from the Dark Star Realm, no one would be able to recognize you. However, you can only impersonate someone who trains in the Gold Punishment Sex martial technique. That's right, you cannot use the 9 Steps Force. If you are to use energy attacks, you must use golden-colored energy. Only by doing so would others not suspect you, said Yi Chu. Gold Punishment Sect? Cannot use the 9 Steps Force. What's going on? Qin Yu was puzzled. Wu Lan, who stood to the side, explained. We do not have a deep understanding of the Dark Star Realm. However, we do know the general situation. There are 3 great schools of martial techniques in the Dark Star Realm. They are respectively the Gold Punishment Sect, the Black Flame Sect and the White Profound Sect. The leaders of these 3 great schools are the Gold Punishment Lord, the Black Flame Lord and the White Profound Lord, the 3 great sovereigns. The martial techniques that everyone in the Dark Star Realm trains in most definitely belong to one of the 3 great schools. Yi Chu continued. My 9 Steps Dark Gold Body martial technique focuses on the bones and muscles. Just by looking at it from the surface, others would be able to easily determine that it is absolutely not a martial technique from the Black Flame Sect or the White Profound Sect. That's because those 2 sects possess clear characteristics. As for the Gold Punishment Sect martial technique, it focuses on both the muscles and bones. However, with your current strength, no one would be able to tell that there is a difference between your physical body and the physical body trained in the Gold Punishment Sect's martial technique. The only difference is that the Gold Punishment Sect's martial technique attacks with golden-colored energy. As for you, you have now reached the 8th stage of the 9 Steps Dark Gold Body and the 9 Steps Force is silver-colored. Thus, you must absolutely not use the 9 Steps Force. After hearing what Yi Chu said, Qin Yu started to smile. Golden-colored. Now that his stellar transformation martial technique had reached the early stage of the origin realm, its energy was golden-colored. It was perfect for impersonation. Haha, I've decided. I'm going to the Dark Star Realm and create an identity for myself. After that, I'll openly enter the bewitching God Temple, Qin Yu said with a smile. Chapter 435. You're really going to the Dark Star Realm. Ho Fei and Kuro stared at Qin Yu. As for Yi Chu and Wu Lan, they glanced at each other and then started to laugh. Yi Chu laughed and said, Qin Yu, if you're really going to pretend to be someone from the Dark Star Realm and wander the Dark Star Realm, then it would truly be interesting. To be honest, I've always been curious about the Dark Star Realm. Back when I followed an Yang, I did not have a deep understanding of the Dark Star Realm. Ho Fei said helplessly. Big brother, you're going to the Dark Star Realm. Actually, I also want to go there. Dark Star Realm, that place is truly mysterious. It tickles my heart. Merely, that place is hostile to the people from the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and Demon Realm. Cannot disguise myself like you. Monkey, let's train in the Zhonglan's realm peacefully. Kuro smiled. Big brother's cultivation speed is so fast that even I feel that it's hard to catch up to him. Now that Big brother is going to wander the Dark Star Realm, we'll quietly train in the Zhonglan's realm. Hee, with 10 times the time difference, our cultivation speed will definitely be able to catch up to Big brother. Hearing that, Ho Fei also started to laugh. It was exactly as Kuro had said. Ever since Qin Yu reached the 8th stage of the 9 Steps Dark Gold Body, Hou Fei and Kuro, who were still level 7 demon emperors, had been working hard the entire time. One was in the outside world while the other was in the Jianglan's realm. Hou Fei and Kuro were confident that they would be able to surpass Qin Yu. Haha, actually I entered the Dark Star Realm for 2 reasons. Firstly, I wanted to enter the bewitching God Temple through the entrance of the Dark Star Realm. Secondly, I wanted to see what the legendary Dark Star Realm was like. Qin Yu was filled with excitement of exploring the unknown. In the eyes of the people from the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and Demon Realm, the extremely mysterious Dark Star Realm was likely something that even the Saiyan Emperor and them did not know much about. At the very most, they only knew some general information about it. Qin Yu. Wu Lan's expression became somewhat serious. When you reach the Dark Star Realm, do not be too careless. After all, Yi Chu and I only possess the most superficial understanding of the Dark Star Realm. Perhaps the people from the Dark Star Realm possess some sort of method that we do not know of that allows them to determine that you are an outsider. Don't worry. Qin Yu was filled with confidence. However, he thought in his heart, I do not believe that the people from the Dark Star Realm would be able to detect the energy within the stellar space. Immediately after, Qin Yu looked to the people surrounding him. Fei Xiaohei, the 2 of you can temporarily train in the Jianglan's realm or guide Little Tong, Guofan and them. Okay. Big brother, you must also be a bit more careful in the Dark Star Realm. Hou Fei was no longer laughing and joking around. Instead, he began to earnestly advise Chu Feng. Merely, Hou Fei and Kuro knew of Qin Yu's current strength. If they wanted to kill Qin Yu, there weren't many people in the Dark Star Realm. Qin Yu was flying in the boundless outer space by himself. His brothers had all entered the Jianglan's realm, and now he was the only one left. Thus his speed had reached his fastest. Qin Yu did not use the divine sword Sky Piercer. That was because Qin Yu's current body was comparable to a mid-quality divine sword. At this moment, he was flying toward the bewildering overlooking star with an extremely frightening speed. I had originally planned to directly go to the Dark Star Realm. However, who would have thought that those countless spatial cracks actually separated the Dark Star Realm from the Demon Realm's bird clan? Qin Yu smiled bitterly and helplessly. When he thought of those enormous spatial cracks that were over hundreds of millions of miles long, even though Qin Yu was extremely powerful, he still had no choice but to take a detour. That spatial crack was not a single one. Instead, it was a series of spatial cracks. Qin Yu also should not directly travel through them. From the bewildering overlooking star, Qin Yu used the interstellar conveying array and arrived at a planet that was also close to the Dark Star Realm. Merely, it was located extremely far to the south of the bewildering overlooking star. On this planet, Qin Yu set off toward the Dark Star Realm. There were no spatial fluctuations in the surroundings of this planet. Qin Yu first flew out of the planet. Then, after 2 greater teleportations, he arrived at the Dark Star Realm. The Dark Star Realm was a planet that was very suitable for human habitation. There were streams of water, flowers and plants. However, for many years no one had lived on this planet. Today, someone had finally come. What's going on? Qin Yu frowned as he stood on the grass. He had covered the entire planet with his immortal awareness. Other than him, there was no one else on this planet. Why is there no one on such a suitable planet for human habitation? The majority of the planets in this cosmic space are desolate. Such a beautiful planet is extremely rare. There should be a lot of people here. This was Qin Yu's own judgment. However, Qin Yu knew that the people of the Dark Star Realm should be very different from the people of the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and Demon Realm. After observing for a long time, Qin Yu was certain that no one had lived on this planet for a very long time. That was because Qin Yu was unable to find any traces of human habitation on this planet. Everything was so natural. I reckon this planet is at the edge of the Dark Star Realm. I'll continue to search deeper. I refuse to believe that I won't be able to find a single person from the Dark Star Realm. Qin Yu used greater teleportation and disappeared from the surface of this beautiful planet. 1 month later, Qin Yu was standing in the void of space. He felt somewhat helpless in his heart. Everything had truly surpassed his expectations. An entire star field. Qin Yu had explored a star field at the edge of the dark star realm. However, in this star field, Qin Yu was actually unable to find a single person. This star field was simply empty. The dark star realm should be around 10 star fields. Why is there not a single person in that star field at the edge? Qin Yu was unable to understand. And now, Qin Yu had arrived at a new star field. Right after stepping into this new star field, Qin Yu had an indescribable feeling. He had a premonition that he would soon discover the people of the dark star realm. After merely an hour, after over 10 greater teleportations, Qin Yu stopped in the middle of the outer space. He looked at a yellow-colored planet in the distance with shock. This yellow-colored planet was not very large. He reckoned that the entire planet only had a diameter of several 100,000 miles. No way. Qin Yu had an expression of disbelief. The main point of his search was those beautiful planets suitable for human habitation. From Qin Yu's point of view, those planets were the most likely places for people to appear. However, Qin Yu had never expected that the first time he discovered a trace of a person would actually be on a planet like this one before him. If this yellow planet was in the immortal realm or the demon realm, it would be a planet that no one would care about. No one would want to live on a planet with such a harsh environment. However, on this yellow planet, Qin Yu's immortal awareness had discovered the aura of at least 10,000 people. It was so much so that Qin Yu's immortal awareness was able to clearly discover the appearance of every single person. At the very least, Qin Yu discovered one thing. The people of the dark star realm also possessed a single nose, 2 ears, 2 eyes and a single mouth. There was no difference between their appearances and his. If one must insist on a difference, then it would be. It seemed that everyone in the dark star realm was relatively powerful. At the very least, among the 10,000 people that Qin Yu had discovered, the majority of them possessed strength that surpassed one level of cultivation. Even some of the children that he had discovered possessed strength that was at the tribulation passing stage. There were even some children that had reached the heavenly immortal level. Everything on this planet appears to be an ordinary planet in the dark star realm. Qin Yu was able to determine that this planet was very ordinary. The number of people on this planet was also relatively small. Forget it, let's go investigate this planet first. Qin Yu made his decision. With this planet before him, he began to explore the depths of the dark star realm. Greater teleportation. Qin Yu descended on this planet. However, the moment he set foot on this planet, Qin Yu was shocked to discover that this planet's gravity was extremely strong, astonishingly strong. How could it be this strong? Qin Yu frowned. This little bit of gravity did not affect him in the slightest. Choosing a planet to live on would at least allow an infant to endure the gravity. With such a strong gravity, would an infant in the dark star realm be able to endure it? In the immortal realm and other places, planets with over 100 million people and many ordinary planets such as the flowing mist star did not possess a strong gravity. Their gravity was only several times that of the purple mystic star of the mortal realm. However, the planet that Qin Yu had descended on possessed a gravity that was about 300 times stronger than the flowing mist star's gravity. Similarly, an infant on the flowing mist star would only weigh 23 kilograms. The gravity of the flowing mist star was several times stronger than the purple mystic star of the mortal realm. However, if this infant was on the planet that Qin Yu was currently on, then he would have to endure 7,000 to 8,000 kilograms of gravity. For a newborn infant to have to endure such a strong gravity, Qin Yu could not help but be shocked. There are too few people on this planet. There are only a total of over 10,000 people on this planet. Although the planet is not very big with so few people, the majority of the planet is still very empty. There are also some ferocious beasts here. Qin Yu only paid a bit of attention before focusing his attention on the 2 people closest to him, a male and a female. Qin Yu's feet moved. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yu had moved several thousand miles and arrived at a canyon. However, just as Qin Yu appeared, he shockingly discovered something. The gravity had changed. To be exact, the place where this ravine was located and the place where Qin Yu was at earlier possessed different gravitational forces. The gravity of the same planet is actually different in different places? Qin Yu was astonished. Suddenly, Qin Yu recalled the universe that his master Lei Wei was in. He had once described a type of planet called the gravity-gathered planet. In the universe that Lei Wei was in, technology had reached a level where humans could practically be found throughout the entire universe. They could even jump through space between star fields. From this, one could imagine the level of technology. In the book that Lei Wei had left behind, there was a mention of a peculiar type of planet called the gravity-gathered planet. Gravity-gathered planet. The structure of its core was very peculiar. It was different from ordinary planets. The gravitational field of the entire planet was also very strange. It even caused the gravity of different areas of the planet to change. However, even the weakest gravity of the gravity-gathered planet was 100 times heavier than ordinary planets suitable for human habitation. Therefore, in the universe that Lei Wei was in, the gravity-gathered planet was not suitable for human habitation. Could it be that the people from the dark star realm are living on the gravity-gathered planet? There are truly all sorts of strange things. In Master's book, he had determined the gravity-gathered planet to be a planet that is uninhabitable. Yet, there are actually this many people living here. There are even infants and children. Qin Yu smiled. Earlier, when his immortal awareness covered the entire planet, he had already discovered the infants and children. The gravity of the place that we were at earlier was only 300 times that of the flowing mist star. However, the gravity of this place is 900 times that of the flowing mist star. Qin Yu looked at the two people that were fighting with lightning speed in the distance. He couldn't help but praise the people from the dark star realm. The strength of the two people before him was only close to that of a gold immortal. In front of Qin Yu, they were naturally not enough. While the two of them were fighting, they were still talking non-stop. Qin Yu was able to clearly hear every single word that the two of them were saying. Gradually, he also understood what had happened. Isn't this too barbaric? Consider yourself unlucky to have chosen you. Qin Yu lightly smiled. Then his figure disappeared. The two people fighting were a man and a woman. That woman possessed short black hair and milky white skin. Her entire body was as soft as satin. However, she was as powerful as a leopard. Her legs were attacking with lightning speed. As for that man, he possessed a head of dazzling golden hair that was like the sun. His frightening explosive power ruthlessly smashed toward the woman with every kick. Su Zong, although your current attack power is a bit stronger than mine, it is still far from enough to kill me. Don't force me to perish together with you. That woman said with a cold voice. The two of them had been fighting for an entire 6 hours. Su Zong laughed and said, "Haha, Xiaoya, although I have pursued you and wanted you to become my wife, I will not let you off so easily. However, don't think that I will show mercy because of this. Hurry up and leave the golden core behind. Leave it behind and I will spare your life." In your dreams, Xiaoya angrily rebuked. If it wasn't for the fact that my right arm was injured after obtaining the golden core from the metal beast, how could you possibly be able to injure me? I risked my life to obtain this golden core. You can forget about obtaining it. If you want to use the golden core, you must at least be alive to enjoy it. Since you are so obstinate, I shall send you on your way. That Su Zong's entire body faintly emitted a golden radiance, and his attack power increased by another level. Clearly, Su Zong had already decided to kill her. Xiaoya's heart was filled with hatred. If it wasn't for the fact that she was heavily injured after fighting with the metal beast, even her right arm would have been broken. How could she be forced into such a situation? Furthermore, in order to heal her right arm, she needed time, sufficient time. Despicable. Xiaoya hated this Su Zong, who appeared to be very bright, even more. Su Zong's hands and legs turned into afterimages as he rapidly attacked. However, following a gotcha sound, Xiaoya was sent flying backwards. Her left arm was also broken. A malevolent smile appeared on Su Zong's face. A palm casually slapped on Su Zong's face. Su Zong's head twisted in a strange manner. Immediately after, that palm grabbed onto Su Zong's head and forcibly lifted Su Zong up. Demonic Dao Soul Search. Xiaoya looked at the scene in front of her in shock. She was able to sense that Su Zong's soul had already scattered and his aura was also gone. It is one thing to rob other people's things. However, it is wrong for you to bully a woman. Especially when you wanted to rob and kill a woman that you had once pursued. You deserve to die even more. Qin Yu's voice sounded. Chapter 436. Qin Yu took a glance at Su Zong's corpse and sighed in his heart. This Su Zong was truly shameless. From what he had heard earlier, this Su Zong seemed to have once pursued Xiaoya and wanted her to become his wife. Merely he did not succeed. However, even with this being the case, Su Zong still had the face to attack her. Furthermore, with Qin Yu's immortal awareness, Su Zong and Xiaoya should possess similar strength. If that girl by the name of Xiaoya wasn't injured earlier, she shouldn't have been forced to such a state. The body is too tough. It's very difficult to repair it. With a broken arm, it would likely take a large amount of time and energy to repair it. With a broken arm, her strength would be greatly reduced. Qin Yu sighed in his heart. This was the weakness of practically all experts that train their bodies. Yi Chu had also said that if one's bones were broken, it would be extremely difficult to repair them. One could imagine how difficult it was to repair a broken divine artifact. Merely, the bones were born from one's body. Thus, it was a bit easier than repairing a divine artifact. As for the people from the Dark Star Realm who also train their bodies, they were no exception. "Milord, thank you for saving my life," Xiaoya said respectfully to Qin Yu. "It's nothing. You don't have to mind it too much. Which village of the deep mulberry star are you from?" Qin Yu casually asked. He had the appearance of someone who knew this planet very well. Actually, everything that Qin Yu knew was obtained from Su Zong's soul by soul searching. In fact, Qin Yu had already learned from Su Zong's memories that this Xiaoya was a cultivator from the mulberry receiving village of the deep mulberry star. Xiaoya did not doubt Qin Yu in the slightest. She said respectfully, "I am a cultivator from the mulberry receiving village." Mulberry receiving village. This is my first time coming to the deep mulberry star. Let's go check out the mulberry receiving village first. Qin Yu said with a light smile. Xiaoya was pleasantly surprised. "I can lead the way for my lord." "Heal your injuries first," Qin Yu said. Xiaoya bowed gratefully. Then, she sat cross-legged on the ground and began to heal her injuries. At this moment, Qin Yu started to organize the information that he had obtained from the Dark Star Realm. At the same time, Qin Yu also obtained a relatively deep understanding of the Dark Star Realm. At the very least, he knew a lot more than Yi Chu and Wu Lan. So it turns out that there are only 3 star fields in the Dark Star Realm that are actually inhabited. The other 6 star fields are all empty. Only at this moment did Qin Yu come to a complete understanding. From Su Zong's memories, Qin Yu knew that the population of the Dark Star Realm was far inferior to that of the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and Demon Realm. In the Dark Star Realm, an average inhabited planet would only have a population of over 10,000. Even a large planet would only have a population of over 100,000, while an ordinary planet would have a population of 10 to 20,000, and a small planet would only have a population of a few thousand. It couldn't be compared to the hundreds of millions in the immortal world. Furthermore, the people of the Dark Star Realm only lived on the gravity-gathered planets. Of course, the gravity-gathered star was what Qin Yu called it. As for the people of the Dark Star Realm, they called the gravity-gathered star Origin Movement Star. The number of gravity-condensed planets was very small, and a galaxy usually only had a few dozen of them. A star field would likely only have a few hundred of them. The population is indeed very small. A star field would only have about 10 million or so people of the dark star realm. 3 star fields would only have about 30 million or so people. The population of the dark star realm is truly small. Qin Yu couldn't help but gasp in admiration. Immortal, devil and demon realm. Any random planet would likely have a population of over 100 million. As for the extremely developed planets like the blue flame star, they would have a population in the billions or even tens of billions. The population of a single planet would surpass the population of the entire dark star realm. However, the number of experts in the dark star realm is more than the immortal realm, devil realm and demon realm combined. Qin Yu was still shocked by this discovery. According to Su Zong's memories, in the dark star realm, every single gravity-gathered planet possessed an elder that guarded that gravity-gathered planet. As long as there wasn't anything major, the elder would only train in the elder's palace. A gravity-gathered planet would definitely have an elder. In the 3 star fields, the number of gravity-gathered planets was estimated to be about 2,000. In other words, there were at least close to 2,000 elders. In order to become an elder, one must at least be an emperor-level expert. Just these elders alone, there were nearly 2,000 emperor-level experts. Merely, the number of emperor-level experts in the dark star realm was most definitely not limited to this. That was because the people of the 3 great starfields in the dark star realm each possessed a sacred planet. These 3 sacred planets were respectively the headquarters of the Gold Punishment Sect, the Black Flame Sect and the White Profound Sect. On the Saint Planet, every sect must have a frightening number of emperor-level experts. Other than the sacred star, there was another mysterious place that definitely had a large amount of emperor-level experts. As for the number of emperor-level experts in this place, it was estimated that the number of emperor-level experts in this place should be more than half of the emperor-level experts in the dark star realm. The elders of the gravity-gathered planets and the experts of the Saint Planet headquarters number close to 3,000, and that's only half of them. That's too many. In the immortal realm, devil realm and demon realm, I reckon that even if all the hidden experts and all the emperor-level experts were to be added together, there would still be less than 3,000 of them. Qin Yu felt helpless. The difference in population was so great. However, there were many more experts in the dark star realm. This was something that could not be helped. Merely from the birth of the babies, one could tell that the babies of the dark star realm possessed innate constitutions that greatly surpassed the babies of the immortal realm, devil realm and demon realm. It was likely that this was caused by generations of evolution. At the same time, the gravity-gathered planets were definitely one of the reasons. With such a frightening gravity, how could the babies be weak? Generally, the strength of the babies of the dark star realm would rapidly increase after they were born. The majority of them would reach the level of heavenly immortal by the time they reached adulthood at the age of 16. Of course, in the dark star realm, the strength was mainly divided into 3 levels: ordinary, king and emperor. King level corresponded to golden immortal and demon king. Emperor level corresponded to demon emperor and immortal emperor. As for ordinary, they corresponded to those below golden immortal. In other words, in the dark star realm, there was no such thing as Jin Dan, Yuanying or heavenly immortal. That was because as long as one was a person from the dark star realm, even if one was lazy, one could easily reach the level of heavenly immortal. Furthermore, they did not have the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulations, 6 in 9 heavenly tribulations or 9 in 9 heavenly tribulations. This heavens, aren't they favoring one and discriminating against the other? Qin Yu was speechless. The people of the dark star realm would reach the level of heavenly immortal by the time they reached adulthood. This was the disparity. Those with good aptitudes would even reach the level of heavenly immortal experts when they were children. "Milord, I'm done." Xiaoya stood up and said respectfully. Xiaoya had not cultivated for a long time. In fact, she had not even cultivated for 100 years. However, she was already at the peak of the ordinary level and was very close to becoming a king-level expert. Even in the dark star realm, her cultivation speed could be considered to be extremely fast. After all, the people of the dark star realm, as long as it wasn't a natural or man-made calamity, their lifespan would be limitless. They were born with the ability to absorb natural energy. They were born with the ability to exist without the air. They were born with boundless strength, and their bodies were terrifyingly hard. This was their talent. Let's go together. Chinyu nodded. He could only think in his heart that the disparity between people was extremely large. However, Chinyu did not know that although the people of the Dark Star Realm were born with such frightening strength, there were also people in other spaces that were 10 times or even 100 times more frightening than the people of the Dark Star Realm. This was the universe. Milord Xiaoya thanks Milord for saving Xiaoya's life. If Milord has any requests in the future, Xiaoya will definitely try her best to fulfill them. Xiaoya flew alongside Chinyu and said to Chinyu. Chinyu smiled and nodded. Xiaoya, never would I have expected that you would be able to kill a king-level metal beast before reaching the king level. This is truly rare. Being praised by Chinyu, Xiaoya's face turned red. In the end, she said helplessly, if it wasn't for the golden core of a king-level metal beast, Su Zong would not have used such a method to deal with me. That's right. To deal with a woman in such a manner is truly shameful. Chinyu sighed. In the Dark Star Realm, the men's talent was generally stronger than the women's. Perhaps there would occasionally be strong women. However, as a whole it was still the men who were stronger. For example, of the 3 great sovereigns of the Dark Star Realm, the previous Gold Punishment Lord, the current Black Flame Lord and the White Profound Lord were all men. From this, one could tell the difference. It was not that there were no women in the history of the Dark Star Realm. However, of all the sovereigns in the history of the Dark Star Realm, only one of them was a woman. From this, one could tell the difference between men and women. In the Dark Star Realm, the men would generally not bully the women, nor would they take advantage of the situation to kill a woman. What Su Zong did, if ordinary people from the Dark Star Realm were to see him, they would definitely kill him out of anger. Xiaoya, to be able to obtain a golden core, you should be able to save a lot of time on your cultivation, right? As of now, Chinyu knew a lot about this golden core. Xiaoya nodded. A smile involuntarily appeared on her face. This is a king-level golden core. At the very least, it will allow me to save 100 years of cultivation time. Fortunately, that metal beast had only just reached the king level. Else I would have been finished. Milord, can you tell me what level you are? Are you a king-level expert? How many stars are you a king-level expert? Chinyu knew that the Dark Star Realm's king level and emperor level were divided into many different star levels. For example, among the king-level experts, from the weakest 1-star king-level expert to the strongest 18-star king-level expert. From the weakest 1-star emperor-level expert to the 18-star emperor-level expert. Compared to the immortal realm, devil realm and demon realm, the Dark Star Realm's king level and emperor level were divided even more clearly. You're asking me how many stars of king level I am? Chinyu was unable to refrain himself from laughing in his heart. King level. Even if he had just entered the 8th stage of the 9 steps dark gold body, he would at the very least be a 15-star emperor level expert. If Chinyu's origin life's recovery ability was added, then he would likely be able to match a 17 or 18-star emperor level expert. Chinyu suddenly laughed. In that case, what level do you think I am? Could it be an 18-star king level expert? Xiaoya guessed in a low voice. As for Chinyu, he was unable to refrain himself from laughing. At this moment, his immortal awareness discovered that some ferocious birds were actually attacking them. Milord, exactly how many stars do you have? Xiaoya urged. Her pure eyes were fixed on Chinyu. Chinyu smiled and said to her, don't ask anymore. I've already discovered that there are 3 bird-type metal beasts rapidly rushing toward this place. Xiaoya's expression immediately changed. She then promptly asked, what level are they? They are all king level. As for how many stars they have, you should know once you fight them. Chinyu said with a smile. At this moment, 3 enormous golden ferocious birds flew over. Xiaoya's complexion instantly turned pale. At the same time, she looked to Chinyu with pleading eyes. You go first. Rest assured, I'll be watching from the back, Qin Yu said with a smile. Hearing those words, Xiaoya immediately became confident. Soon after, excitement rose in her heart. With Qin Yu behind her, she was no longer afraid. Immediately, she shouted and rushed forward. Xiaoya displayed all of her abilities. Relying on her nimble body, she was actually not defeated in a short period of time. Qin Yu was watching from the side. However, he was still in a state of shock. This dark star realm is truly unbelievable. Metal beasts. Where exactly did these wild beasts whose bodies are completely made of metal come from? They're so powerful, but their intelligence is ridiculously low. Qin Yu was puzzled the entire time. It was not that gravity-gathered planets did not exist in the immortal realm, devil realm and demon realm. It was just that those planets were uninhabited and were treated as desolate planets. No one had ever paid attention to them. However, Qin Yu had used greater teleportation and used his immortal awareness to investigate a few gravity-gathered planets. However, he had never discovered such a peculiar creature like the metal beast. A metal beast with the strength of a gold immortal was actually this low in intelligence. The strangest thing was, even in the dark star realm, there were no metal beasts in the other starfields. Only the starfield where the gold punishment sect was located had metal beasts. Furthermore, metal beasts were only born on gravity-gathered planets. On the gravity-gathered planets of the Black Flame sect's starfield, there were blazing fire beasts. They were made of a fire attribute energy crystal, and their bodies were burning with flames. On the gravity-gathered planets of the White Profound sect's starfield, there were frost ice beasts. They had bodies made of ice. Exactly what is going on here? On the gravity-gathered planets of the Gold Punishment sect's starfield, there were metal beasts. On the other hand, on the gravity-gathered planets of the Black Flame sect's starfield, there were blazing fire beasts. Could it be that there are some differences between the gravity-gathered planets of the two places? Qin Yu was filled with doubts. He did not understand. Were there any differences between the gravity-gathered planets of different starfields? The current Qin Yu was unable to understand the reason why metal beasts, blazing fire beasts and frost ice beasts were born. Qin Yu was only able to truly understand the reason why metal beasts, blazing fire beasts and frost ice beasts were born after he met the emperor-level experts of the Dark Star Realm. After all, that sort of thing was something that ordinary people of the Dark Star Realm like Su Zong would not understand. "Milord." Xiaoya only managed to hold on for a short while before she was unable to hold on any longer. Qin Yu smiled. Immediately after, his body moved. Before Xiaoya's astonished eyes, Qin Yu instantly turned into 3 afterimages. Those 3 afterimages simultaneously appeared before the 3 metal beasts. The 3 afterimages grabbed with one hand and directly pierced through the bodies of the metal beasts. The cores of the metal beasts. The golden cores were extracted. Immediately after, the 3 afterimages disappeared and Qin Yu returned to his original position. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. If it wasn't for the fact that Xiaoya had been watching with her eyes wide open the entire time, she would have thought that Qin Yu had not moved at all. "Milord Yu." Xiaoya suddenly felt that the Qin Yu before her eyes was likely an expert that was comparable to the most revered elders of the deep mulberry star. "These 3 golden cores are for you." Qin Yu very casually tossed the 3 golden cores to Xiaoya. Earlier, Qin Yu had killed 3 metal beasts in a blink of an eye and tossed the 3 golden cores over. The series of actions caused Xiaoya's brain to short-circuit and she was stunned for a good while. Golden cores. Xiaoya suddenly dove down and caught the 3 golden cores that were falling down. Chapter 437. Qin Yu did not care about the golden cores of the metal beasts at all. From Su Zong's memories, Qin Yu also knew that the golden cores were beneficial to the people of the Dark Star Realm. To be exact, they were beneficial to the people who trained in the Gold Punishment sect's martial techniques. "Thank you, my lord." Xiaoya had an excited expression as she thanked Qin Yu repeatedly. "Don't worry about it. To the current me, This golden core is no longer of much use, Chinyu said with a light smile. Since he was pretending to be someone from the Dark Star Realm, he would naturally have to pretend to be an expert. When Xiaoya heard that, she was immediately astonished. The golden cores were extremely useful to the people who trained in the Gold Punishment Sect's martial techniques. For example, an ordinary king-level golden core would be of great use to a 17-star or 18-star king-level expert. Could it be that he's an emperor-level expert? Xiaoya guessed in her heart. Merely she did not dare to ask. We should be arriving at the mulberry receiving village soon, Chinyu said with a light smile. His immortal awareness had discovered a village not far away. However, even with Su Zong's memories, Chinyu was still unable to determine whether this was the mulberry receiving village or not. The reason for that was because the 8 villages of the Deep Mulberry Star would frequently migrate because they would occasionally encounter groups of metal beasts and have no choice but to migrate to avoid them. That's right. Several hundred miles ahead should be the village I'm in. Xiaoya looked to her surroundings and nodded. Then she smiled and said, "Milord, my brothers and sisters in the village will definitely be very happy to see Milord." The cultivators of the Dark Star Realm worshipped the strong. As for Chinyu, he was an expert not only in name but also in reality. For the time being, you do not have to publicize my strength. I am only temporarily staying in your village. I do not wish for your village to change too much because of me. After some time, I will still have to go to the Elder's Palace, Chinyu said with a light smile. Chinyu was already prepared. How to become a member of the Dark Star Realm. When Chinyu obtained Su Zong's memories, he already had a complete plan in his heart. Of course, before that, he must first learn the Gold Punishment Sect's martial techniques. In Su Zong's memories, there was an elementary-level Gold Punishment Sect martial technique. The Gold Punishment Sect's cultivation techniques were divided into 3 sets: elementary, intermediate, and advanced. Actually, each set of cultivation techniques could be cultivated to the peak of the Emperor level. It was just that the efficiency of each set of cultivation techniques was different. For an ordinary person like Su Zong, he could only obtain elementary-level cultivation techniques. Chinyu and Xiaoya flew all the way and saw a village in the distance. "Sir, we've arrived at the village. If you don't mind, you can stay at my place." Xiaoya smiled and said, "Everyone in our village built their own residences. There is nothing empty about it." Chinyu nodded and smiled. "Then I'll have to trouble you." "Not at all." Xiaoya's face was slightly red. Wasn't it a great honor to have an emperor-level super expert in her home? Especially this expert, who was so handsome and had such a bearing. "What are you blindly thinking about?" Xiaoya abandoned the wild thoughts in her mind. Chinyu did not know what Xiaoya was thinking at this moment. At this moment, Chinyu's attention was completely focused on this village called Mulberry Receiving Village. With Chinyu's immortal awareness, he was able to easily investigate everything. This Mulberry Receiving Village is truly powerful. There are over 1,000 people in the entire village. Other than the several hundred ordinary level experts, the other 1,000+ people are all king-level experts. Xiaoya should still be considered weak in this village. Chinyu completely knew the strength of everyone here. Through the observation of his immortal awareness, Chinyu discovered one thing. Nearly 90% of the people in the Dark Star Realm were bitterly training. They were either bitterly training in their residences or sparring with one another. There might even be some training outside fighting against metal beasts. Only a very small portion of people were chatting and laughing with one another. What a flourishing atmosphere of training. Chinyu praised in his heart. No wonder Xiaoya called herself a cultivator from the Mulberry Receiving Village. When she first met me, it would appear that everyone in the Dark Star Realm is a cultivator. At this moment, Chinyu and Xiaoya had already arrived outside the village. There were several hundred youths sparring with one another outside the village. When several people saw Xiaoya, they greeted her with a smile. "Xiaoya, you've been out for an entire month. What sort of harvest did you obtain this time?" Don't tell me that you didn't even encounter a metal beast. Xiaoya slightly raised her head and said confidently, I did. Furthermore, it was a king-level metal beast. I even killed it. As she said that, Xiaoya took out the golden core of the metal beast she had killed and flaunted it in front of her companions. Those boys and girls all looked at Xiaoya in shock. Qin Yu laughed in his heart. It would appear that these boys and girls are about the same age as Xiaoya. Just by looking at their strength, one could tell that these boys and girls were not even king-level experts. They were even much weaker than Xiaoya. From this, one could determine that they should be about the same age. King level. A girl covered her mouth in shock. At this moment, many people that were sparring walked over. Among them, a middle-aged man said with a chuckle, Little Ya, you've killed a king-level metal beast. Not bad. Little Ya's potential is very high. Among those of the same age, she can be ranked in the top 10. Another middle-aged man nodded and said. At this moment, a tanned, muscular middle-aged man who was only wearing trousers and a bare upper body stared at Qin Yu with a pair of sharp eyes. Then he looked at Xiaoya. Lilia, where did this expert behind you come from? How come I've never seen him before? Qin Yu didn't care about that muscular middle-aged man in the slightest. This muscular middle-aged man's strength was not bad. He reckoned that his strength was comparable to a level 8 demon king. However, in front of Qin Yu, he was still far from enough. When she heard this question, Xiaoya's face was filled with anger. She said, Uncle Si Lu, when I went out this time, I encountered a king-level metal beast and managed to kill it with great difficulty. However, who would have thought that Su Zong from the Golden Sun village would actually take advantage of my injury to kill me and seize my gold core? Su Zong, is he that youngster from the Golden Sun village that once pursued you? The muscular middle-aged man by the name of Si Lu said with a frown. In the Dark Star realm, a village would generally be very united. This was also the reason why Xiaoya directly displayed the golden core she obtained from hunting to her brothers and sisters. However, at the same time, two different villages would fight against each other unceasingly. Lilia, Su Zong treated you like this. Many of the surrounding youngsters had expressions of anger. Among them, a seemingly simple and honest-looking youngster said angrily, The next time I see Su Zong, I will definitely kill him. Such a shameless and despicable person. He must definitely be killed. The surrounding group of youngsters all shouted in agreement. Xiaoya smiled. There's no need for that. Su Zong is already dead. Dead? The surrounding people were shocked. Many of them looked to Qin Yu, who stood beside Xiaoya. Xiaoya nodded and said, That's right. When I was in the most dangerous situation, it was Milord who killed Su Zong and saved me. That middle-aged man by the name of Si Lu placed his left fist on his right chest. He slightly bowed and said, On behalf of Xiaoya, this Si Lu would like to thank you, friend. May I know your name? What's my name? Qin Yu paused for a moment. Then he smiled and said, Lu Xing. Lu Xing. Xiaoya, who stood to the side, muttered in her heart. This was also the first time that she had heard of Qin Yu's name. Lu Xing, my mulberry receiving village is grateful to you for saving little Ya. May I know if you can come to my residence so that I can have the honor of inviting my friend who has come from afar? Si Lu spoke in a very polite manner. Qin Yu smiled faintly and shook his head. He said, There's no need for that. I will only be staying in the mulberry receiving village for the time being. After a period of time, I will be preparing to go to the Elder's Palace. Hearing the 3 words Elder's Palace, Si Lu's attitude became slightly more respectful. Lu Xing, if you have any matters, feel free to send someone to inform me. In the mulberry receiving village, I, Si Lu, am able to manage practically everything. Lord Lu Xing, eldest uncle Si Lu, is very powerful. In our village, only the village chief is slightly more powerful than eldest uncle Si Lu. Xiaoya said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu slightly bowed and said, If there's anything, I will definitely go to Si Lu's place. Qin Yu knew that the experts of the Dark Star Realm could not be judged by their soul's realm. As for the strength of their physical body, it was very difficult to judge it by merely relying on immortal awareness. As for this Si Lu before him, his soul's realm was only that of a level 8 demon king. However, it was very hard to determine the strength of his physical body. Xiaoya, bring me to your residence. Qin Yu looked to Xiaoya. Xiaoya smiled and said, Sure, follow me. Si Lu shouted to the surrounding people. You all continue to train. Don't waste time here. Yes. The surrounding people either continued to spar or returned to their own residences to train. As for Qin Yu, he and Xiaoya arrived at Xiaoya's residence. It was a very ordinary house. This house only had a single floor and 3 rooms. Usually, Xiaoya would live in the room on the left. The room in the middle was the living room used to receive guests. As for the room on the right, it had become Qin Yu's residence. Lord Lu Xing, if there's anything you need, feel free to instruct me. Xiaoya's face was bright red. She slightly bowed to Qin Yu and said. Qin Yu nodded, smiled and said, There's nothing for me to do. Since you've obtained the golden core, it's best that you properly go and train. I need to enter seclusion training for a period of time. When I come out of seclusion training, I will inform you. Seclusion training. Xiaoya was slightly startled. Immediately after, she smiled and nodded. When your lordship comes out, you can just call for me. Soon after, Qin Yu closed the door to the room. Looking at the surroundings, Qin Yu did not dare to set up any barrier at all. He was worried that others would recognize him. After thinking about it, Qin Yu decided, it's better that I return to the Zhonglan's realm to train. With an intention, a figure flew out from Qin Yu's body. Immediately after, it sat cross-legged on the ground. Its appearance was exactly the same as Qin Yu's. Sword Immortal Puppet, it's been a long time since I've used it. For the time being, replace me. Qin Yu had only left a trace of his soul's energy in the Sword Immortal Puppet. As for the top-quality elemental spirit stones, he had taken out all of them from the Sword Immortal Puppet. With a movement of his body, Qin Yu disappeared from the room. As for the clone that the Sword Immortal Puppet had turned into, it sat cross-legged on the ground. Times inside the Zhonglan's realm. Qin Yu did not go and greet his brothers. Instead, he directly went to the private room in his residence. Sitting cross-legged, Qin Yu recalled the cultivation technique of the Gold Punishment sect in his mind. This Dark Star realm is truly peculiar. The cultivation techniques of the entire Dark Star realm are only divided into 3 schools. This Gold Punishment sect's cultivation technique could be said to have seized the good fortune of heaven and earth. It's incomparably peculiar. Upon inspecting the cultivation technique, Qin Yu gasped in admiration in his heart. According to Su Zong's memories, this cultivation technique was only the most basic of the 3 sets of cultivation techniques of the Gold Punishment sect. It was also the cultivation technique that took the longest to cultivate. After carefully reading it, Qin Yu came to understand. The elemental spirit energy of the boundless immortal, devil and demon realm could be converted into metal attribute energy. It could also be converted into ice attribute energy. It could also be converted into fire attribute energy. In order to convert, one must rely on a formation array. As for the various gravity-gathered planets, there were already enormous formation arrays set up for conversion. In the origin movement planets, one could directly absorb metal attribute energy. And if one were to set up a conversion formation array, one must at least reach the king level in order to set it up successfully. Never would I have thought that training in the Dark Star realm would actually not absorb elemental spirit energy. Instead, it's converted energy. Qin Yu gasped in admiration in his heart. Every single Gold Punishment sect cultivation technique contained the method to set up a conversion formation array. The size of the conversion formation array and the amount of elemental spirit stones used determined the efficiency of the conversion formation array. Absorbing metal attribute energy. If the amount of metal attribute energy exceeds one's ability to control it, it would actually turn into metal. Qin Yu was unable to refrain himself from laughing. In order to train in the gold punishment sex cultivation technique, one must slowly absorb the metal attribute energy. During the absorption process, one must allow one's body to slowly transform. At the same time, the amount of metal attribute energy absorbed must be within a controlled range. If one were to absorb too much metal attribute energy, it would exceed one's control. One's body would turn into metal. The reason why the people of the Dark Star Realm wanted to hunt metal beasts was because after breaking open the metal beast's golden core, a golden liquid would flow out from within. If this golden liquid was absorbed into one's body, one would be able to develop a portion of one's body's potential ahead of time and be able to absorb even more metal attribute energy. If a person with a soul of a level 8 demon king did not use a golden core, he would at most be able to become a 15 or 16 Star King level expert. If one were to use a golden core, the golden liquid would be absorbed by one's body and a portion of one's body's potential would be developed. This would allow one's body to absorb even more metal attribute energy and allow one's strength to reach the level of a 17 or 18 Star King level expert. Golden core. That was the possibility of surpassing one's level. However, the higher one's strength was, the less effective the golden core would be. If one were to become an Emperor-level expert, the golden core would have practically no effect at all. The golden core would only allow one's body to develop its potential earlier. Thus, generally, golden cores would still be useful to King-level experts and even 1 or 2 Star Emperor-level experts. However, once one became an Emperor-level expert, the golden core would become useless. The effect of setting up a formation depends on the quality and quantity of elemental spirit stones. Qin Yu smiled. He had set up a very simple conversion formation in his private room. Qin Yu was able to clearly sense that a large amount of elemental spirit energy was being absorbed by the formation and then converted into a special kind of energy. Let's train according to the gold punishment sex basic cultivation technique. Qin Yu immediately began to quietly train. Chapter 438. Using 36 top-quality elemental spirit stones, Qin Yu set up the metal attribute conversion array. Qin Yu sat in the middle of the array formation. After passing through the array formation, the elemental spirit energy was converted into metal attribute energy. After that, the elemental spirit energy was frantically absorbed by Qin Yu. Unprecedented. There had never been anyone in the Dark Star Realm that dared to absorb metal attribute energy so frantically. According to the rules, 36 top-quality elemental spirit stones. Even the main array of the deep mulberry star was likely not this extravagant. However, even with this, the amount of metal attribute energy was still not enough for Qin Yu to absorb. The martial techniques of the Dark Star Realm are indeed the creation of the world. To be able to transform one's body's essence like this, its might is not inferior to the 9 steps dark gold body. Qin Yu felt relaxed. His body had already transformed to a frightening degree. Currently, he could absorb as much metal attribute energy as he wanted. The training of the cultivators of the Dark Star Realm was to increase their body's level. In other words, their capacity for metal attribute energy. The greater the capacity of their body, the more metal attribute energy they would be able to absorb. However, what about Qin Yu? His body had already reached a frightening degree. His capacity was frighteningly large. He could absorb as much as he wanted. The metal attribute energy is still not enough. Qin Yu sensed that when his body was absorbing the metal attribute energy, there were no major changes to his body. Thus he began to ponder. Suddenly, I had forgotten that this is the Zhonglan's realm. Qin Yu laughed at himself. He waved his hand and removed the metal attribute conversion array. At the same time, he disappeared from the private room. Why would Qin Yu need elemental spirit stones to set up a formation array in the Zhonglan's realm? In the Zhonglan's realm, he was omnipotent. Within the space of the Zhonglan's realm, Qin Yu was standing in the air. In the Zhonglan's realm, I can set up as much of this conversion array as I want. Qin Yu pointed with one hand. A golden light flew out from Qin Yu's finger. Qin Yu began to draw without restraint. After a short moment, a golden formation array with a circumference of over 10,000 miles was set up. Convert. With a thought from Qin Yu, the superformation with a radius of over 10,000 kilometers began to operate. It began to devour a large amount of elemental spirit qi and convert it into metal attribute energy. Reduce the conversion speed by half. With a thought from Qin Yu, the conversion speed of the array formation was reduced by half. Immediately after, Qin Yu sat cross-legged in the middle of the great formation array. The metal attribute energy that covered the sky and covered the earth rushed into Qin Yu's body from all directions. It rushed into his muscles and bones, permeated into his muscle fibers and even into the depths of his cells. Qin Yu's entire body was slowly transforming. Now that the speed has been reduced by half, it's about the same as my absorption speed. Qin Yu was very satisfied. In comparison, the 9 transformations dark gold body still has some weaknesses. The 9 transformations dark gold body focuses on the muscles and bones. But this gold punishment sect technique focuses on the muscles, tendons and bones. In terms of toughness, Qin Yu's tendons and bones were comparable to middle-grade divine artifacts. But the toughness of his muscles was probably comparable to low-grade divine artifacts. If it were a middle-grade divine sword, it would probably be able to make Qin Yu bleed, but it wouldn't be able to break Qin Yu's bones. 3 days and 3 nights. As the metal attribute energy madly poured into his body, Qin Yu's tendons, bones and muscles were constantly transforming. 3 days later, Qin Yu's body finally reached its limit. If he continued to absorb, Qin Yu's body would transform into metal. With a wave of his hand, he dispelled the 10,000-kilometer formation. As far as I'm concerned, the gold punishment sect's low-grade, mid-grade and high-grade techniques make no difference at all. Qin Yu smiled, then took a step forward and disappeared into thin air. The difference between low-grade, mid-grade, and high-grade techniques only determine the speed at which one's body transformed. As for Qin Yu, he had already finished cultivating his body. Right now he was merely going through a process of changing his outer appearance. Although his strength did not change much, Qin Yu's body was circulating with the gold punishment sect's unique metal energy. Qin Yu directly arrived at Yi Chu's residence. At this moment, Ho Fei and Kuro were cultivating. For the time being, Qin Yu did not wish to disturb them. Yi Chu. Qin Yu saw Yi Chu, who was not far away. Yi Chu stopped his cultivation and turned around to look at Qin Yu. Then he grinned and said, "Qin Yu, how do you feel after coming to the Dark Star Realm?" "Feel pretty good," Qin Yu said with a smile. "However, Yi Chu, you've just obtained a cultivation technique of the Dark Star Realm's gold punishment sect. It is a low-grade cultivation technique. However, after cultivating it, I discovered that the 9 steps dark gold body seems to be inferior to the cultivation technique of the gold punishment sect." "Truly?" Yi Chu's face was filled with disbelief. "Absolutely impossible." Qin Yu waved his hand and tossed out a jade slip. Within the jade slip was the cultivation technique of the gold punishment sect. Yi Chu received the jade slip and examined it. After carefully pondering for a moment, he said to Qin Yu, "Qin Yu, I believe that the cultivation technique of the gold punishment sect is inferior to the cultivation technique of our dinosaur clan." "Why is that?" "When one cultivates the 9 steps dark gold body to the 9th stage, one's bones will be comparable to a high-quality divine artifact. However, when one cultivates the cultivation technique of the gold punishment sect to the pinnacle, one's bones and muscles will be comparable to a high-quality divine artifact. One can tell with a single glance who is superior and who is inferior," Qin Yu said. Yi Chu shook his head. "That's not right. If 2 people with the same aptitude were to cultivate the 9 steps dark gold body and the gold punishment sect's cultivation technique respectively, the person who cultivates the 9 steps dark gold body would definitely be stronger. Me tell you, the 9 steps dark gold body can be cultivated anywhere. However, what about the cultivation technique of the gold punishment sect? One must construct a conversion formation to cultivate it. This is the first reason. The second reason is that the 9 steps dark gold body doesn't require elemental holy rock to set up a formation. However, the cultivation technique of the gold punishment sect does. At the very least, the amount of elemental holy rock consumed is a huge expenditure. Yi Chu said confidently. The most important reason is that bones are tougher than muscles to begin with. The 9 steps dark gold body allows experts to become stronger, and their muscles will also improve at the same time. But what about the cultivation technique of the gold punishment sect? In the beginning, it doesn't improve the toughness of the bones. Instead, it improves the toughness of the muscles. When the two aspects are equal, it slowly improves them at the same time. This method of the gold punishment sect will definitely be extremely difficult to cultivate to the pinnacle. This is because the difficulty of upgrading bones to a high-quality divine artifact is definitely lower than upgrading muscles to a high-quality divine artifact. Qin Yu immediately smiled. Yi Chu, I didn't think that what you said would be so reasonable. During his cultivation, Qin Yu had also sensed that it was much easier to improve the toughness of bones than it was to improve the toughness of muscles. Not only did muscles need to be tough, toughness was even more important. In order to transform the body's muscles, one had to be extremely careful and slow. As for bones, although toughness was important, toughness was even more important. I can say with certainty that if one cultivates the gold punishment sect's cultivation technique to the later stages, without borrowing external power, it will be impossible for one to reach the pinnacle and become comparable to a high-quality divine artifact, said Yi Chu with great certainty. Qin Yu was astonished. How did you know? The cultivation technique he gave did not mention this. Qin Yu only knew about it from Su Zong's memories. Yi Chu said confidently. That's because my dinosaur clan has already experimented many times. By relying on energy at the level of elemental spirit energy to train, one's muscles would at most reach the toughness of a mid-quality divine artifact. Only the bones, because of their innate superiority, could be comparable to a high-quality divine artifact. I do not believe that without relying on external power, the people of the Dark Star Realm would be able to strengthen their muscles to the level of a high-quality divine artifact. Qin Yu nodded and said with a smile, "That's right. If one were to bitterly train on a planet, one's muscles would at most be comparable to a mid-quality divine artifact. As for the method the Dark Star Realm used to solve this problem, is to borrow the power of gravity." Gravity? Yi Chu was puzzled. "Oh, Dark Star," Qin Yu said. Yi Chu's expression changed. "Impossible. Different dark stars have different levels of gravity. For some dark stars, even experts who have reached the 9th stage of the 9 steps dark gold body would not be able to withstand their gravity. If one were to go up there, one's entire body would be crushed to pieces. Even one's soul would not be able to escape." Qin Yu understood. The dark star was the so-called neutron star or white dwarf star that his master Lei Wei used to live in. They were planets with frightening levels of gravity. Different dark stars possessed different levels of gravity. For some frightening dark stars, their suction was even close to that of a black hole. Even if one's body was as tough as a high-quality divine artifact, it would still be crushed. I do not believe that the people of the Dark Star Realm would be able to find a dark star that is most suitable for them to train on. The gravity of the Dark Star Realm just so happens to reach their limit and not surpass their tolerance. How could there be such a coincidence? Yi Chu said with certainty. Back then, the ancestors of my dinosaur clan had also thought of relying on the gravity of the dark star to train. However, many of our ancestors had mistakenly entered the dark stars with frightening levels of gravity and ended up losing their lives. Since then, no one dared to enter the dark stars without permission. Qin Yu nodded his head. The gravity of the dark stars was indeed very difficult to determine. Some of the dark stars had very weak gravity, so weak that even ordinary immortal emperors would be able to withstand it. However, some of the dark stars had terrifyingly strong gravity, so strong that even Yuanying would be crushed. I also do not know how the ancestors of the dark star realm managed to find suitable dark stars. However, I do know that they possessed the legendary 18 Emperor-level dark stars. These 18 dark stars were respectively suitable for 1-star Emperor-level experts to 18-star Emperor-level experts. One would be able to last for 2 hours on the dark star. That person would be considered an expert of that star level. Qin Yu said with a smile. 18 Emperor-level dark stars. 18 King-level dark stars. Practically everyone in the Dark Star realm knew about the legendary 36 trial Dark Stars. Over half of the experts in the Dark Star realm were training there. As for how these 36 Dark Stars that were suitable for King and Emperor level experts were found, Qin Yu was unable to imagine it either. Qin Yu's thoughts were the same as Yi Chu's. This matter was practically impossible. For example, finding a dark star that was suitable for 18-star Emperor-level experts to train on. At the very least, the person searching for a dark star should possess the strength of 18-star Emperor-level experts. That was the strongest strength one could possess before ascending. For an expert like that to search for a dark star, it would be fine if they were to find a dark star that was too weak. However, if they were to find a dark star, the gravitational force of the dark star would surpass their endurance. Likely they would be instantly finished. How many 18-star Emperor-level experts were there in the Dark Star realm? It would likely be very difficult to find even a single one. Thus, how would they be able to withstand such a search? If one were to approach a dark star and slowly approach the dark star, one would fly away when one was unable to withstand the gravitational force. If one was able to withstand the gravitational force, one would descend. This method should be able to find a dark star, right? Such a method suddenly appeared in Qin Yu's mind. However, in merely a short moment, this method was rejected by Qin Yu. I am truly foolish. Qin Yu laughed at himself. If one were to follow Qin Yu's method, when one was flying near a dark star, it would not be one's body that would resist the gravitational force of the dark star. Instead, it would be the energy within one's body. The stronger the energy within one's body, the stronger the gravitational force one would resist. For those who train their bodies would generally be stronger than the energy within their bodies. For example, when one trained in the 9 steps dark gold body, one would use the 9 steps force within one's body to counteract the gravitational force when flying. However, the endurance of one's body would generally be stronger than the 9 steps force within one's body. If one were to slowly approach a dark star, one would definitely not be able to reach the limits of one's body. It would simply be impossible for one to train. Times outside of the Mulberry Receiving Village in the Dark Star Realm. Many youngsters from the Mulberry Receiving Village were gathered together. In the center was Xiaoya, who had been training for 3 days. Xiaoya had absorbed the golden core's liquid and then absorbed the metal attribute energy. As of now, Xiaoya's strength had just reached 1 Star King level. Little Ya, congratulations. From today onwards, you will be ranked within the top 5 of our generation. A brown-haired youngster said with a smile. The surrounding several tens of youngsters were all chatting and laughing. With an outstanding expert in their village, everyone would naturally be happy. Suddenly, a golden-haired young girl said, Yeah, exactly how strong is that person called Lu Xing? He has a very extraordinary appearance. The way I see it, it is very possible that he is a fake expert. Don't speak nonsense. At the very least, that Lu Xing killed Su Zong. A youngster argued. The golden-haired young girl snorted. Hard to say. That person called Lu Xing most likely killed Su Zong with a sneak attack. That does not represent how strong he is. Yet tell me, is that Lu Xing very strong? Xiaoya was anxious. However, she remembered Qin Yu's instructions. She was not allowed to speak of Qin Yu's strength. Ye is not saying anything. Seems like that Lu Xing is truly not much. That golden-haired young girl became even more certain. The way I see it, that Lu Xing is at most 1-star king level. He is about the same as a Ya. Xiao Ya angrily said. I am still far from Lord Lu Xing. You all do not know. 3 powerful king-level metal beasts wanted to kill me, but Lord Lu Xing killed those 3 king-level metal beasts in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye. Everyone was stunned. Impossible. Immediately, a few youngsters spoke out. Just as they were arguing, the brown-haired youngster suddenly frowned. Stop quarreling. There is a group of people from the south that is rushing towards our village. Immediately, the group of youngsters quietened down and looked towards the south. In merely a short while, several hundred figures shot over from the sky and landed outside of the mulberry receiving village. The 3 leading the group were middle-aged men. It's the people from the Golden Sun village. The brown-haired youngster frowned. Immediately after, he said in a clear voice. This is the mulberry receiving village. I wonder what you people from the Golden Sun village are doing here. Of the 3 middle-aged men, the one in the middle took a step forward and said with a smile, I am the village chief of the Golden Sun village. Not long ago, we encountered a group of metal beasts and were forced to move our village. After we chose a new location, we discovered that your mulberry receiving village is less than 100 li away from our new location. Thus, we have come here to greet your mulberry receiving village. Chapter 439. Being attacked by a group of powerful metal beasts and being forced to migrate their village. This was a scene that frequently occurred in all the gravity-gathered planets of the Dark Star Realm's Gold Punishment Starfield. Jin Feng, it would have been enough for you to come and greet our mulberry receiving village by yourself. Why did you bring such a large group of people? Several hundred of them. Furthermore, they are all king-level experts. They should be 30% of the experts in your Golden Sun village, right? Following a deep and resounding voice, a topless, robust man walked out. He was precisely Si Lu, the number 2 expert of the mulberry receiving village. The village chief of the Golden Sun village, Jin Feng, lightly smiled and said, We have come for 2 reasons. Firstly, to greet you all. Secondly, to ask you all about a matter. What is it? Si Lu said with a frown. Jin Feng's expression grew cold. During the migration this time, the people of our Golden Sun village were separated into several batches. Among them, there was a batch of over 100 people that migrated together. However, this batch of people have all died. All died. Si Lu's expression took a huge change. Even the surrounding group of youngsters, including Xiao Ya, were astonished. It was extremely rare for so many people to die all at once. That was because the metal beasts possessed very low intelligence. It was practically impossible for them to kill over 100 experts. After our investigation, other than Su Zong, we did not even manage to find the corpses of the other people in that batch of people. Furthermore, judging from Su Zong's injuries, Su Zong should have been killed by humans and not metal beasts. Jin Feng's voice grew cold. Among the surrounding human villages, only your mulberry receiving village is present. I wish to know if it was your people who killed Su Zong and those 100+ people that migrated. The Golden Sun village and the mulberry receiving village were antagonistic. This was a hatred that had lasted for countless years. Adding on Su Zong's corpse, it was no wonder that Jin Feng suspected the mulberry receiving village. No, we did not. Si Lu said firmly. Jin Feng sneered and said, Although our Golden Sun village possesses some hatred and grievances with you all, it would not reach the point where you would kill over 100 of my clansmen at once. At this moment, a silver-haired old man walked out from the mulberry receiving village. Beside him was Qin Yu. Village chief. Si Lu, Xiao Ya and the others all bowed. At this moment, the cultivators that were quietly training in the mulberry receiving village also walked out. Over 1,000 people were gathered here. Lord Lu Xing, let me take care of this matter first. This silver-haired old man said to Qin Yu via voice transmission. Qin Yu nodded slightly. It had been 2 days since Qin Yu came out from the Zhonglan's realm. In these 2 days, he had been together with the mulberry receiving village's village chief, Silu's father, Su. Chinyu revealed a little bit of his strength, and Sisu treated Chinyu with respect. Village chief Sisu, don't tell me that you don't admit that more than 100 people of my Golden Sun village were not killed by your mulberry receiving village? Golden Sun village chief Jin Feng said coldly. Sisu raised his silver eyebrows and said with a faint smile, I admit that Su Zong was killed by my people. However, the others were definitely not killed by my people. Father. Si Lu frowned as he looked at his father. If he were to admit that Su Zong was killed by them, this matter would become very long-winded. Jin Feng laughed out loud. What a joke. You admit that Su Zong was killed by you, but why don't you have the guts to admit that the remaining 100+ people were also killed by you? Sisu, you shouldn't be this kind of person, right? Suddenly, a clear voice rang out. Village chief of the Golden Sun village. Su Zong wanted to seize my golden core and kill me when I was seriously injured. In the end he was killed. As for the others, I did not see them at all, said Xiaoya as she stared at Jin Feng. Little girl, I didn't ask you anything, don't interrupt. Jin Feng coldly glanced at Xiaoya. Furthermore, don't you insult the dignity of my Golden Sun village's descendants. My Golden Sun village's descendants would rather die than do that sort of thing. Qin Yu, who stood to the side, merely lightly smiled in his heart. A person whose strength was only close to that of a level 9 demon king was actually this tyrannical. Jin Feng, right? That Su Zong was killed by me. I can testify. Your Golden Sun village's Su Zong indeed wanted to kill Xiaoya while she was in danger. Qin Yu said indifferently. Who are you? Jin Feng was about to shout. However, when his gaze landed on Qin Yu, his expression slightly changed. Immediately after, Jin Feng's attitude changed greatly. Very politely he said, May I know who your lordship is? Hearing those words, the group of boys and girls who were arguing with Xiaoya earlier were all shocked. Especially that golden-haired girl. She said to Xiaoya beside her in disbelief. Yeah, that Lu Xing, is he really that strong? Even the village chief of the Golden Sun village has to address him as Lord. Lord Lu Xing is truly very powerful, said Xiaoya with certainty. In the Dark Star Realm, people generally addressed the strong as Lord. In the Dark Star Realm, people worship the strong even more than in the immortal Devil and Demon Realm. In the immortal Devil and Demon Realm, people with exceptional backgrounds might be respected. However, in the Dark Star Realm, even if it was the son of a monarch, if his strength was too weak, he would still be looked down upon. This is Lord Lu Xing, said Sisu. Lord Lu Xing had just arrived at our mulberry receiving village. On the way he saved Xiaoya. Jin Feng, could it be that you don't believe what Lord Lu Xing said? Jin Feng immediately became vexed. Firstly, it was impossible for him to discover Qin Yu with his soul's power. At the very least, Qin Yu was on par with him. Secondly, Qin Yu was emitting a sort of aura. That sort of aura was something that only Emperor-level experts possessed. Jin Feng had only sensed that sort of aura when he encountered some Emperor-level experts on the 36 Trial Dark Stars. Jin Feng naturally wouldn't dare to doubt Lord Lu Xing's words. However, how did the other 100+ people die? Jin Feng continued. Furthermore, Su Zong had left together with them. How could something like what Lord Lu Xing said happen? At this moment, a middle-aged man beside Jin Feng raised his head and said, Lord Lu Xing's strength is very powerful and his status is very high. I shouldn't doubt Lord Lu Xing. However, Su Zong is a disciple of our Golden Sun village. At the very least, he has the dignity of a disciple of our Golden Sun village. As for what Lord Lu Xing said, I simply cannot believe that it was Su Zong who did it. You may know a person for a long time without understanding his heart. Do you all understand this logic? Said Qin Yu with a light smile. This group of people from the Golden Sun village truly believed themselves to be infallible. Qin Yu continued. Furthermore, if it was truly as you all said, that it was the people from the mulberry receiving village that killed your people, Then why didn't Su Zong destroy their corpses? Jin Feng and the others were startled. That's right, the corpses of over 100 people were destroyed. Why would Su Zong's corpse still be there? Furthermore, when I arrived at the deep mulberry star and used my soul power to investigate, I discovered that there was a large group of metal beasts surrounding and attacking the corpses of over 100 people. Merely, I didn't pay attention to it at that time. If my guess is correct, then those 100+ people should be people from your Golden Sun village. Qin Yu said indifferently. In the Dark Star realm, immortal awareness, demon awareness and so on were all soul powers. What was used to investigate was soul powers. Thus, Qin Yu naturally called them soul powers. The expressions of the people from the Golden Sun village changed. Jin Feng said with a cold voice. Lord Lu Xing, you said that your soul power discovered that there was a large group of metal beasts surrounding and attacking over 100 people. In that case, why didn't your lordship save my clansmen? Save? Qin Yu was startled. He had never thought of saving them. This cannot be blamed on Qin Yu. When Qin Yu was roaming the immortal devil and demon realm, he would frequently discover that there were hundreds and thousands of battles happening on a planet when he used his immortal awareness to search it. Qin Yu couldn't possibly go and save everyone, right? After a long time, Qin Yu had also gotten used to this. Even when he arrived at the deep mulberry star and used his immortal awareness to search the entire deep mulberry star, Qin Yu had already discovered tens of battles happening. Could it be that Qin Yu had to go and save the weak? Save tens of battles? If he were to save every battle, then when Qin Yu roamed the immortal devil and demon realm, Qin Yu would be completely exhausted just by saving people. Who do you think I am? Are you the protector of the Golden Sun village? Said Qin Yu with a cold voice. When I roamed the Dark Star realm, every time I passed by a planet, how many battles would I discover? Do you think that I have to save every battle? The people of the Golden Sun village were all stunned. Merely in their hearts, the people of the Golden Sun village were all furious. Troll. Qin Yu had once had the opportunity to save their people. That village that's currently under construction 100 miles away is your Golden Sun village, right? Qin Yu suddenly said. That's right, replied Jin Feng. Qin Yu lightly smiled and said, let me tell you all something. At this moment, there's a large group of metal beasts. There are no less than 1,000 of them. This group of metal beasts have split into 2 groups and are charging toward your village from the front and back. Jin Feng was startled. Immediately after, Jin Feng spread out his soul's power and lightly smiled. There's a total of over 1,000 metal beasts. Although they're relatively hard to deal with, it's still possible to kill them all. Don't be too confident. Qin Yu lightly smiled and said. Qin Yu had already discovered that although the number of metal beasts in this group could not be considered frightening, there was a leader among them. This leader was the strongest metal beast in the entire deep mulberry star. An emperor-level metal beast. However, Jin Feng had an appearance filled with confidence. Lord Lu Xing, could it be that you don't know that the metal beasts are training targets for the people of our Dark Star realm? No matter what, it's impossible for them to exterminate our village. At the very least, the elders would not ignore it. Oh! Qin Yu said in confusion. Training targets. The Mulberry Receiving Village's village chief Si Su said to Qin Yu. Lord Lu Xing, you might not know about this matter. This is something that the elders have told us. The reason why the metal beasts exist is to temper our clansmen. However, the metal beasts are all under the control of the elders. They will not endanger the safety of our village. Qin Yu understood in his heart. The role of every gravity-gathered planet's elders was to protect the gravity-gathered planet. At the same time, they were to monitor what was happening on the gravity-gathered planet to prevent the entire village from being exterminated. After all, the population of the Dark Star realm was very small to begin with. But your elder's strength is also inferior to that emperor-level metal beast. Qin Yu thought in his heart. The elder's palace was located on a mountain peak on the deep mulberry star. That elder indeed possessed emperor-level strength. However, merely by looking at his soul's realm, he only possessed the strength of a level 2 demon emperor. However, this emperor-level metal beast possessed the strength of a level 4 demon emperor. The elders were simply unable to detect this emperor-level metal beast. Thus, how could they possibly protect them? I've said it before, you all shouldn't be too confident. Qin Yu lightly smiled and said. Jin Feng said to the surrounding crowd, let's return first. Although those 1,000+ metal beasts cannot be considered a disaster, if we don't return, it will still be difficult for the villagers to handle them. Yes, village chief. Immediately, the several hundred people rapidly flew toward the direction of the Golden Sun village. Sisu, come with me and have a look. Qin Yu suddenly said. Qin Yu knew very well in his heart that it was simply impossible for the Golden Sun village's strongest people, whose strength was only close to that of a level 9 demon king, to handle those level 4 demon emperor level metal beasts. Okay, I'll go and see how the Golden Sun village will handle the attack of the metal beasts. Sisu nodded and said. Soon after, Sisu and Qin Yu directly rushed toward the direction of the Golden Sun village. Si Lu said to the surrounding villagers of the mulberry receiving village. Everyone, let's return first. Right now, the metal beasts are attacking the Golden Sun village. Who knows when they might spread their influence to our village? Everyone, we must be vigilant. At this moment, Xiao Ya and the other youngsters were still discussing. Yeah, how powerful is that Lord Lu Xing? Earlier, I saw that the village chief and the Golden Sun village's village chief were very respectful toward him. That golden-haired girl's eyes shined. Could it be that he's an emperor-level expert? Xiao Ya did not say anything. She was looking at the direction that Qin Yu left in. Sisu, let me ask you something. These metal beasts generally have low intelligence. What is the reason for this? Could it be that all metal beasts have low intelligence? Qin Yu asked suspiciously. Sisu laughed and said, Your lordship, do you usually train bitterly on some desolate planet? But Qin Yu knew that his question was somewhat stupid. Sisu nodded and said, No wonder your lordship doesn't know much about this. Metal beasts are only born on origin movement planets. Metal beasts are very powerful, but for some reason they have low intelligence. However, once a metal beast reaches the emperor level, it will have intelligence similar to ours. Emperor level. Qin Yu completely understood. No wonder when that group of metal beasts had charged toward the Golden Sun village, they had coordinated so well with each other. But emperor-level metal beasts are extremely rare. There are many Peak King-level metal beasts, but emperor-level metal beasts are terrifyingly rare. That is a bottleneck. Once they break through, they will have intelligence. Metal beasts without intelligence aren't frightening, but once they have intelligence, even if the body of an emperor-level metal beast is only twice as tough as a Peak King-level metal beast, the difference in power is more than 10 times. Or even greater. Sisu said solemnly. Even the sacred planet has organized a special law enforcement team to hunt down and kill some emperor-level metal beasts. Because emperor-level metal beasts can easily cause the entire population of an origin movement planet to die. At least in the past 100 million years, there have been 5 origin movement planets that have been destroyed. Qin Yu laughed and said, If I hadn't come here this time, the deep mulberry star would have been the 6th. Sisu's expression changed. Your lordship means that there are emperor-level metal beasts here? Impossible. How come the elders didn't notice? Qin Yu's gaze turned toward the Golden Sun village not far away. Elders. Your elder's power is only around 4-star emperor level. But that emperor-level metal beast is around 7-star emperor level. How did your elders notice? Chapter 440. 7-star emperor-level metal beast. Sisu's eyes were wide open. His face was filled with shock. Sisu shook his head repeatedly. Impossible, absolutely impossible. The successive generations of elders were all monitoring it. No matter what, They could not have allowed this metal beast to grow to 7-star Emperor level. When it had just reached Emperor level, it would definitely have been killed by that generation of elders. Hearing what Sisu said, Qin Yu also felt that. It seemed that it was impossible for this Emperor-level metal beast to survive, much less reach 7-star Emperor-level strength. In the Dark Star realm, Emperor level was divided into 18 stars. In that case, why were those 5 origin movement stars destroyed by Emperor-level metal beasts? Qin Yu suddenly asked. Sisu was slightly startled. Then he sighed and said, "The reason why those 5 origin movement stars were destroyed by Emperor-level metal beasts was because when those Emperor-level metal beasts had just reached 1-star Emperor level, they immediately left the origin movement stars. Only after their strength had increased did they return to the origin movement stars to attack." Smart. Qin Yu started laughing. This Emperor-level metal beast was truly smart. It knew that it would not be able to handle powerful experts when it had just reached Emperor level. Thus, it actually learned to leave the origin movement stars. The Dark Star realm was the name of the gravity-gathered stars. It would first increase its strength before returning to attack. Sisu, I believe that this Emperor-level metal beast also came to the deep mulberry star from the outside world. Qin Yu guessed. Sisu said solemnly. This matter is too important. A 7-star Emperor-level metal beast is too dangerous. This matter must be reported to the elders. It must also be reported to the sacred planet. As he said that, Sisu took out a transmission spiritual pearl. The communication tool of the Dark Star realm is actually also a transmission spiritual pearl. Qin Yu exclaimed in admiration. Qin Yu did not know that the reason why the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and Demon Realm used transmission spiritual pearls was because they had learned from the Dark Star realm. In terms of history, the Dark Star realm had been established much longer than the Immortal Realm, Devil Realm and Demon Realm. The elders will be here soon. Sisu put away the transmission spiritual pearl and said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu nodded. He then looked at the Golden Sun village and said, "There's no need to worry. The Emperor-class metal beasts haven't attacked yet. They're only attacking some King-class metal beasts." In the entire Golden Sun village, close to 2,000 figures were flashing about, fighting with the metal beasts. From the looks of it, the humans clearly had the upper hand. The strength of this metal beast was not bad. However, his intelligence was too low. Without intelligence, it would be good if he could even unleash half of his strength. Hiss! A metal wolf's abdomen was pierced by 2 hands, and then it was ruthlessly torn into 2. The middle-aged man who killed the metal wolf howled madly. This middle-aged man was the village chief of the Golden Sun village, Jin Feng. Jin Feng is very strong. Although his soul realm is only at 18-star king level, his body is very strong. It is comparable to a 1-star monarch level, Sisu said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu naturally guessed that this was because of the gold core. He had used a large amount of golden cores and absorbed the liquid within, allowing his body to develop even more and become even stronger. With a 1-star monarch level body, Jin Feng was bullying king-level metal beasts. Jin Feng was indeed incomparably confident when fighting. Jin Feng's body was like lightning. Wherever his body passed, the metal beasts were torn apart, and blood splattered everywhere. Village chief. Some of the cultivators of the Golden Sun village cheered. In just a short while, more than half of the metal beasts were killed or injured. As for the people of the Golden Sun village, only 3 people had died and dozens of people were injured. As the advantage increased, the Golden Sun village would most likely suffer fewer losses by killing the remaining people. "Your elder is here," Qin Yu said with a smile. His immortal awareness could clearly sense a figure flying over from afar. In the blink of an eye, he was above the Golden Sun village. From the looks of it, he seemed to be using his soul power to carefully search for the monarch-level metal beasts. The elder of the deep mulberry star was a bald middle-aged man. His entire body was faintly glowing with golden light. His gaze was like lightning as he scanned all directions below the Golden Sun village. When he saw Qin Yu and Sisu, he only nodded slightly and did not come over. Clearly, this elder was more concerned about the monarch-level metal beasts. His soul power was constantly searching below. The difference in soul realms is that great. How did you find them? Qin Yu said to himself. Qin Yu's immortal awareness turned towards the monarch-level metal beast. The monarch-level metal beast had the appearance of a cheetah. Its entire body was formed from a type of deep azure metal. Its cold eyes swept the elder in the air with disdain. Clearly, this monarch-level metal beast didn't care about the elder at all. The monarch-level metal beast then turned its gaze towards the slaughtering Jin Feng. Go to hell! A bloody smile was on Jin Feng's face. One of his hands formed into a claw, ripping through space and crushing the head of a tiger-shaped metal beast. Suddenly, a deep azure ray of light pierced through the air, shooting straight towards Jin Feng. The elder, who had been keeping watch this entire time, shot towards the deep azure ray of light. As for Jin Feng, when the deep azure ray of light shot towards him, he couldn't help but feel his heart tremble. He immediately retreated at high speed. Bang! The elder had actually managed to intercept the cheetah-shaped metal beast. Seeing this, a hint of a smile appeared on Sisu's face. As for Qin Yu, he shook his head. That monarch-level metal beast is deliberately slowing down, said Qin Yu. That monarch-level metal beast attacked first, while the elder intercepted it from behind. With the elder's strength, how could his speed possibly match that of a 7-star monarch-level metal beast? For it to be blocked now, it is clear that the monarch-level metal beast is deliberately doing this. Sisu immediately understood. It wants to kill the elder. Sisu's body trembled. At this moment, the deep mulberry star's elder Lu Tong's heart was filled with shock. Several days ago, he had received news from the sacred planet that there were monarch-level metal beasts roaming about in the surrounding starfields. He was warned to be on guard. In the past couple days, Lu Tong had been carefully monitoring the situation. Earlier, Sisu's message had caused him to immediately rush over. And now, he had encountered the so-called monarch-level metal beast. However, Lu Tong had never imagined that this monarch-level metal beast would be this powerful. In merely 3 moves, a large hole was slashed open on Lu Tong's chest. Blood was flowing out from it. Had he not dodged slightly earlier, his stomach would have likely been cut open. To immortals and Devil Realm experts, having their stomach cut open was nothing. However, to the people from the Dark Star Realm, it was an extremely serious injury. Elder of the Deep Mulberry Star, stop resisting. You are no match for me. Everyone from the Deep Mulberry Star will die. Not a single one of you will be able to escape. The deep cyan cheetah's eyes were fixed on Lu Tong. Its voice sounded in Lu Tong's mind. Lu Tong's heart trembled. It was true that monarch-level metal beasts possessed intelligence comparable to humans. You are the second elder of the Origin Movement Star that I have killed. That deep cyan cheetah sent a voice transmission through its soul power. Hearing that, Lu Tong was shocked. Could it be that another elder of the Origin Movement Star had died? Whoosh! The speed of that sharp claw immediately increased by 50%. In practically the blink of an eye, it had arrived before Lu Tong. Faced with this claw, Lu Tong closed his eyes. He was simply unable to dodge it. He could only close his eyes and wait for death. 4 stars against 7 stars. The disparity was truly too great. However, Lu Tong waited for a very long time. Yet the claw did not arrive. Hey, Junior Leopard, don't glare at me. A voice sounded. Lu Tong opened his eyes and saw a scene that left him dumbfounded. A youngster was holding onto the neck of a monarch-level metal beast single-handedly. The cheetah monarch-level metal beast's entire body was flickering with light. It wanted to resist. However, with its neck being held, the metal beast was actually unable to struggle free from the youngster's hand. He's the youngster standing beside Sisu earlier. Lu Tong immediately recalled. At this moment, Qin Yu looked to Lu Tong. He smiled and said, "Elder of the Deep Mulberry Star, allow me to introduce myself. I am Lu Xing, an interstellar cultivator." Interstellar cultivator. Lu Tong was astonished. There was indeed a group of interstellar cultivators in the Dark Star realm. This group of people did not seek enjoyment. Instead, they continued to wander in the boundless Dark Star realm and bitterly train. This group of people did not have much reputation. However, their strength was frighteningly powerful. After all, without powerful strength, how could they dare to wander in the interstellar space? "I am the elder of the Deep Mulberry Star, Lu Tong. I thank Lord Lu Xing for saving my life. I also thank Lord Lu Xing for saving our entire Deep Mulberry Star." Lu Tong's heart was filled with boundless gratitude. A 7-star Emperor-level metal beast. If it wasn't for Qin Yu, the Deep Mulberry Star would have definitely been finished. Furthermore, a 7-star Emperor-level metal beast could continue to endanger the other origin movement planets through greater teleportation. A 7-star Emperor-level metal beast was too dangerous. Furthermore, based on the voice transmission from the metal beast earlier, one of the planet's elders had already been killed. At this moment, the herd of metal beasts that were no longer under the control of the metal beast began to frantically flee. In merely a short moment, all of the surviving metal beasts had fled. Lord Elder, Jin Feng and the others all walked over and greeted respectfully. As for Si Su, he also walked over and greeted respectfully. Lord Elder, Jin Feng glanced at the metal beast with a somewhat fearful expression. He asked, "Lord Elder, what rank is this metal beast? Could it be Emperor level?" Who didn't know of the ominous reputation of the metal beast? Elder Lu Tong nodded and said, "This metal beast is very powerful. It's much stronger than me. As for its true strength, Lord Lu Xing should be able to tell." Elder Lu Tong looked respectfully at Qin Yu. Jin Feng's eyelids twitched. The hearts of the group of people from the Golden Sun village shook. Even an elder had to address him as Lord. Qin Yu nodded and said, "This metal beast's strength is not bad. It has the strength of a 7-star Emperor-level metal beast." Qin Yu was still holding onto the metal beast's neck with one hand. No matter how hard the metal beast struggled, it was unable to move in the slightest. 7-star Emperor level. The cultivators of the Golden Sun village all opened their eyes wide as they looked at the cheetah metal beast that was held in Qin Yu's hand like a toy. A cheetah metal beast that was unable to resist after being grabbed by the neck, and a 7-star Emperor-level metal beast. If that was truly the case, then how many star Emperor-level expert was this smiling Lord Lu Xing in front of them? Chapter 441. Lord Lu Xing, please forgive this Jin Feng for being disrespectful to you a while ago. Jin Feng suddenly walked forward, placed his left hand on his right chest, lowered his head and spoke respectfully. When Jin Feng found out that Qin Yu was able to easily subdue a 7-star Emperor-level metal beast, he came to a complete realization. Such an expert was not someone that he, a cultivator that was not even at the Emperor level, could compare with. Lord Lu Xing, please forgive us. Jin Feng's two brothers also said respectfully. Elder Lu Tong looked to Qin Yu and asked, "Lord Lu Xing, did Jin Feng and them offend you? If Jin Feng and them have offended Lord in any way, please forgive them." Elder Lu Tong also respectfully requested. In the Dark Star realm, powerful strength determined one's status. After absorbing Su Zong's memories, Qin Yu knew about some of the rules of the Dark Star realm very well. Immediately, he smiled carelessly and said, "Village Chief Jin Feng, you do not have to mind it too much. Back then, you were only blinded by hatred because your fellow villagers were killed. I am able to understand." Lord Lu Xing, Jin Feng was moved. He still remembered the attitude he had toward Qin Yu in the mulberry receiving village. Never would he have expected that the Honorable Lord Lu Xing would be this broad-minded. Qin Yu felt helpless in his heart. He looked to Elder Lu Tong and said, "Elder, I have something that I need your help with. Of course, before I help you, would you mind coming to the mulberry receiving village with me? I would like to bid farewell to the girl who led me back then. Lord Lu Xing, please." Elder Lu Tong stood beside Qin Yu. He even stood slightly behind him. His respect for Qin Yu could be seen from a single glance. Soon after, Qin Yu, Si Su, Lu Tong and his third brother flew toward the mulberry receiving village not far from here. At this moment, practically everyone in the mulberry receiving village was on high alert. They were worried that the group of metal beasts would attack their village. Seeing Si Su's arrival, those alert cultivators immediately spread the news throughout the entire village. Immediately, over 1,000 people from the mulberry receiving village rushed out. Among them was Xiaoya. The golden-haired girl who had suspected Qin Yu pulled Xiaoya's arm. The golden-haired girl gently pointed at Qin Yu, who was flying over from afar. "Look, that's the elder. Elder seems to be rather respectful towards Lord Lu Xing." Xiaoya didn't know why, but she had a bad feeling in her heart. However, she still said to her good friend who had grown up with her, "Liexin, Lord Lu Xing told me before that he came to find the elder." Elder Lu Tong monitored the entire deep mulberry star. He had also appeared in the 8 villages several times. Almost everyone on the deep mulberry star knew of the strongest protector of the deep mulberry star. "Greetings, Lord Elder." The cultivators of the mulberry receiving village saluted respectfully. Elder Lu Tong flew to the front and said to the group of people below, "This is Lord Lu Xing. Lord Lu Xing is about to leave this place. Before he leaves." "Xiaoya," Qin Yu suddenly called out. This girl by the name of Xiaoya was tenacious, hard-working and optimistic. Qin Yu was very fond of her in his heart. Of course, it was only a kind of fondness for a younger sister. Now that he was about to leave, he had to bid farewell to her. Otherwise, Qin Yu would feel uncomfortable in his heart. "Lord Lu Xing, are you about to leave?" Xiaoya's heart was in a mess. Very rarely did Xiaoya worship someone. When she saw that Qin Yu was able to kill 3 king-level metal beasts with a raise of his hand, she began to worship Qin Yu in her heart. In her heart, Qin Yu was very strong and very perfect. "Right, I am about to leave." Qin Yu nodded his head and said. Immediately after, he raised the Emperor-level metal beast. Under the grasp of Qin Yu, this 7-star Emperor-level metal beast was unable to resist at all. "Before I leave, I have a gift for you," Qin Yu said with a smile. "Gift?" Xiaoya was slightly startled. At this moment, Elder Lu Tong seemed to have guessed what Qin Yu was planning to do. He immediately sent a voice transmission. "Lord Lu Xing, no matter what, this Emperor-level metal beast cannot be allowed to live. It must be killed. In the Dark Star Realm, the dangers of Emperor-level metal beasts are too great, truly too great. Everyone in the Dark Star Realm who sees Emperor-level metal beasts must do their best to kill them. No matter what, they must not be allowed to have the opportunity to destroy our origin movement star." Qin Yu was slightly startled. He had captured this metal Emperor-level metal beast himself. Originally, he had wanted to tame this metal Emperor-level metal beast and then gift it to Xiaoya. Although it was difficult for others to tame Emperor-level metal beasts, Qin Yu was still capable of doing so. However, it would appear now that the Dark Star Realm simply did not allow Emperor-level metal beasts to live. "That's simple." Qin Yu smiled. Immediately after, he was about to kill this 7-star Emperor-level metal beast. However, right at this moment, "You'd best not kill me. Else my brothers will not let you get away with it." That 7-star Emperor-level metal beast stared fiercely at Qin Yu. Its ice-cold eyes were filled with hatred. Qin Yu was slightly startled. This 7-star Emperor-level metal beast had brothers. However, with his strength, how could he possibly be afraid of a mere metal beast? "Junior Leopard, could it be that you think that your brothers are a match for me?" Qin Yu replied with a voice transmission. The 7-star Emperor-level metal beast was slightly startled. for Qin Yu to be able to subdue it so easily. His strength was evidently unfathomable. A snap sound was heard. The 7-star Emperor-level metal beast's neck was directly snapped by Qin Yu's hand. Immediately after, a golden energy shot out from Qin Yu's hand and a golden core flew out. A 7-star Emperor-level golden core. The eyes of countless people in the mulberry receiving village shone. An Emperor-level golden core was something that was hard to come by even in a million years. Even Elder Lu Tong was somewhat moved. Qin Yu smiled lightly and said to Lu Tong, "Elder Lu Tong, you should know how precious this 7-star Emperor-level golden core is. As for the liquid within this golden core, you should wait until Xiao Ya's strength is sufficient before letting her consume it. As for this 7-star Emperor-level metal beast's corpse, I'll give it to you." Lu Tong became excited. "Thank you, Lord Lu Xing." Lu Tong looked at the corpse of the 7-star Emperor-level metal beast and his eyes shone. To Emperor-level experts, golden cores were becoming less and less useful. For 1-star and 2-star Emperor-level experts, golden cores were still somewhat attractive to them. To a 4-star Emperor-level expert like Elder Lu Tong, ordinary golden cores were simply not attractive. Even a 7-star Emperor-level golden core was only slightly attractive to him. What truly attracted Lu Tong was the corpse of the 7-star Emperor-level metal beast. The reason why metal beasts were called metal beasts was because their bodies were made of metal. When metal beasts were born, although their bodies were made of metal, their bodies were incomparably agile. When a metal beast died, its body would harden and completely transform into metal ores. The hardness of the metal ores that the corpse of a 7-star Emperor-level metal beast turned into was something that one could well imagine. Even if it was not tempered and refined, a weapon made from the corpse of a 7-star Emperor-level metal beast would still be extremely sharp and durable. Once the weapon was tempered, the hardness of the weapon would be close to that of a low-quality divine artifact. Lord Lu Xing, thank you. Xiaoya wanted to say something. However, in the end she didn't say anything. Work hard. Qin Yu encouraged her. After that, Qin Yu turned around and looked to Elder Lu Tong. "Elder, let us return to your elder's palace first." Elder Lu Tong nodded his head. After storing the corpse of the metal beast into his interspatial ring, he set off together with Qin Yu. Seeing the backs of Qin Yu and Lu Tong as they soared through the sky and left, Xiao Ya merely bit her lips. "Little Ya, Lord Lu Xing is too far away from us." Si Lu stroked Xiao Ya's head and consoled her. Xiao Ya merely stared at Qin Yu's disappearing silhouette. Her gaze was extremely firm. Times the elder's palace was located on top of a tall mountain. Qin Yu and Lu Tong followed an arc and rapidly shot toward the elder's palace at the peak of the mountain. The elder's palace was constructed by the people from the sacred planet. It was extremely luxurious. The elder's palace was not very big. It was composed of 2 palaces, one at the front and one at the back. Normally, the elders would live in the palace at the back. This time I am truly grateful to Lord Lu Xing. Not only did he save me, he also saved the entire deep mulberry star. He even gifted me the corpse of the 7-star Emperor-level metal beast. Elder Lu Tong's face was glowing. Clearly he was in a very good mood. "Elder Lu Tong, to be honest, I have always been puzzled by one thing," Qin Yu muttered. As Elder Lu Tong spoke with Qin Yu, they entered the palace. The 2 of them sat on 2 chairs. Elder Lu Tong looked to Qin Yu and said, "I am puzzled by one thing." "What is it?" "Metal beast." Qin Yu had indeed been puzzled by this matter the entire time. And now he asked. "When I was bitterly training in the interstellar space, I had also discovered some uninhabited origin movement planets. However, those origin movement planets did not have metal beasts at all. Furthermore, there were only 3 great starfields in the dark star realm that were inhabited: the gold punishment starfield, the black flame starfield and the white profound starfield. Among them, the origin movement planets of the black flame starfield did not have metal beasts. Instead they had blazing fire beasts. On the origin movement planets of the white profound starfield, they did not have metal beasts. Instead they had frost beasts. I truly do not understand exactly what caused all of this. Qin Yu gasped in admiration. Elder Lu Tong started to laugh. Haha, Lord Lu Xing, if you were to ask the other elders, I reckon that 9 out of 10 elders would not know. However, I do know about this. Oh! Qin Yu looked to Elder Lu Tong. Qin Yu was merely asking. He did not expect that he would actually be able to find the answer. Elder Lu Tong gasped in admiration. The metal beasts, frost beasts and blazing fire beasts are unique to the Dark Star realm. The reason for this is because of the conversion formation. Elder Lu Tong, are you talking about the conversion formation that converts elemental spirit energy into metal attribute energy? Qin Yu suddenly had a guess in his heart. Elder Lu Tong nodded and said, That's right. Actually, this is something that my teacher told me when I was on the sacred planet. Lord Lu Xing, I can tell you this. The metal beasts, frost beasts and blazing fire beasts are all born from the world. For example, on the origin movement planets, in order to set up the metal attribute conversion formation, one must at least possess the strength of a king. Furthermore, one must have sufficient elemental spirit stones. However, ordinary infants and children are simply unable to set up a formation. Thus, we set up an enormous metal attribute conversion formation on the origin movement planets. This formation is constantly converting elemental spirit energy into metal attribute energy. This metal attribute energy is spread throughout the entire origin movement planet. Elder Lu Tong explained in detail. Qin Yu nodded. He knew about this. Elder Lu Tong continued. The metal attribute energy is not only absorbed by the cultivators on the origin movement planets. There is also some metal attribute energy that gathers and even forms metal beasts. As for why they are formed, I do not know either. However, I know the metal beasts are formed because of the metal attribute energy. Qin Yu immediately understood. I understand now. The blazing fire beasts on the origin movement planets of the Black Flame Starfield were formed because of the fire attribute conversion formation. The frost beasts of the white mysterious starfield follow the same principle. The reason why there is nothing on the origin movement planets of the other starfields. It is because there is no conversion formation. Everything suddenly became clear. However, after understanding this, Qin Yu was truly curious. How could a large amount of metal attribute energy be converted into metal beasts out of thin air? The mysteries of the universe are still not something that I can understand. Qin Yu could not help but sigh. Elder Lu Tong nodded and said, That's right. The universe is too mysterious. There are many things that cannot be understood at all. For example, why are metal beasts born? Why do they possess intelligence after breaking through to the Emperor level? It is truly mysterious. Qin Yu nodded. Then he smiled at Elder Lu Tong and said, Elder Lu Tong, the reason why I came to look for you this time is because I have something that I need to trouble you with. Lord Lu Xing, feel free to speak. As long as I can help, I will definitely help. Elder Lu Tong was very straightforward. Qin Yu slowly said, Elder Lu Tong, you should know that I am an interstellar cultivator. For so many years, I have been wandering the interstellar space. I have never cared about where I am. I have only been wandering around and constantly bitterly cultivating. However, 1,000 years ago I discovered that I had reached a bottleneck. No matter what, I could not take another step forward. Therefore, I thought of a place that I have never been to before, the 18 Emperor level trial Dark Stars. I am prepared to enter the 18 Emperor level trial Dark Stars to undergo trials. Elder Lu Tong agreed and said, Lord Lu Xing should go. The 18 Emperor level trial Dark Stars are the fastest place to cultivate. I truly never would have imagined that even though Lord has reached such a level of strength, you have never gone to the trial Dark Stars. I have been wandering the interstellar space all these years and have never used the stellar identity crystal. Back then, when I left my own planet, I had directly used greater teleportation to leave. I did not go to the Elder's Palace to obtain a stellar identity crystal. Right now, I am prepared to use your Deep Mulberry Star's stellar identity crystal. Qin Yu finally spoke of his purpose for coming. Qin Yu had learned about the existence of the stellar identity crystal from Su Zong's memories. To be granted a stellar identity crystal meant that one's strength had been acknowledged by the Elder's Palace. Generally, when cultivators left their own planets, they would go to the Elder's Palace to obtain a stellar identity crystal. That was because only by possessing a stellar identity crystal would one be able to enjoy some of the special treatment that the people of the Dark Star realm possessed. For example, entering the Dark Star Trial Dark Star, entering the Bewitching God Temple, becoming a guard on the sacred planet and so on. All of these required proof of identity. However, there were also many proud and aloof people who simply disdained to obtain a stellar identity crystal. They would train by themselves. As long as they had strength, they would have everything. When they truly needed a stellar identity crystal, they could casually go to any planet and obtain one. As for those elders who received the aloof experts, they were also extremely happy. That was because it meant that a powerful expert had appeared on their planet. This would cause their planet's reputation to soar. Lord Lu Xing, an expert like you is truly willing to accept our Deep Mulberry Star stellar identity crystal and become a member of our Deep Mulberry Star? Elder Lu Tong had a pleasantly surprised expression on his face. Chapter 442. Seeing Lu Tong's expression, Qin Yu smiled and nodded. That's right. Elder Lu Tong, I'll have to trouble you to bestow me a star identity crystal. No trouble at all, said Elder Lu Tong while waving his hand. Lu Tong could already imagine that when Qin Yu's reputation spreads far and wide, when others mention the name Lu Xing, they would say, Lord Lu Xing came from the Deep Mulberry Star. As an elder of the Deep Mulberry Star, he would also have a lot of face. He had also heard of many good friends of his. Elders from other planets had received interstellar cultivators and bestowed star identity crystals to those interstellar cultivators. He never expected that he would also receive such a good opportunity. Lord Lu Xing, please wait a moment. Lu Tong flipped his hand and took out a triangular prism-shaped crystal pillar. What is this for? Qin Yu looked at the triangular prism-shaped crystal pillar with a puzzled expression. He was able to sense that the triangular prism-shaped crystal pillar before him was emitting a special aura. Elder Lu Tong explained casually. Lord Lu Xing, this is the first time you've been bestowed a star identity crystal. Thus, you definitely don't know the procedure. This is a rule set by the sacred star. Thus, before being bestowed a star identity crystal, you must pass through this crystal pillar's inspection. Inspection? What inspection? Qin Yu had a bad premonition in his heart. Could it be that this mysterious crystal pillar would be able to inspect his identity? Lu Tong smiled and said, Lord Lu Xing, you don't have to worry. This triangular prism-shaped crystal pillar is used to inspect one's strength and energy. It can determine whether one is a king or an emperor. At the same time, it can also inspect one's energy attribute. I remember that tens of millions of years ago, there was once a person from the Devil Realm who wanted to disguise himself and enter the Dark Star Realm. Oh! Tens of millions of years ago, someone from the Devil Realm was discovered. Why did that person come to the Dark Star Realm? Asked Qin Yu. Elder Lu Tong said casually. I heard that person from the Devil Realm was a cultivator of the Devil Realm's Black Devil Path. The Black Devil Path cultivators are also body refiners. Although they are different from us, the difference is not too big. That Devil Realm expert wants to enter our 18 Emperor Grade Dark Stars for a trial. But to enter the 18 Emperor Grade Dark Stars, one must have a stellar identity crystal. Therefore, that Devil Realm expert wanted to get his hands on a celestial identity crystal, but was found out by this triangular crystal pillar. Is this crystal pillar so powerful? Qin Yu exclaimed, but he became cautious in his heart. Qin Yu was very confident in himself. After all of his energy was stored in his astral space. Moreover, just in case, Qin Yu had also trained in the techniques of the gold punishment sect, causing his body to produce the unique power of gold. But who knew what principle this crystal pillar was using to investigate? Perhaps it might be used to investigate some of the special characteristics of the people from the Dark Star Realm. Not knowing the principle behind this crystal pillar's examination, Qin Yu started to worry. However, at this point, Qin Yu could only brace himself and go forward. Lord Lu Xing, in merely a short moment, this crystal pillar will be able to detect Lord Lu Xing's school and cultivation level. Elder Lu Tong poured his power of gold into the triangular crystal pillar. Then, the triangular crystal pillar started to emit a faint misty radiance. Immediately after, a misty radiance covered Qin Yu's body. The triangular crystal pillar gradually started to shine. This feeling is quite comfortable. Although Qin Yu felt somewhat uneasy, he still felt as comfortable as a massage. Qin Yu asked, "Elder Lu Tong, do you know how this crystal pillar inspects people?" "I do not know. This triangular crystal pillar is sent to every elder palace by the sacred planet. It has been passed down for countless years. However, it has never had a problem," said Lu Tong with certainty. "Never had a problem." Hearing those words, Qin Yu's heart tightened. If I am to be discovered, it would appear that I can only use the final method. Qin Yu did not wish to use the final method. Not only was that method ruthless, it was also not safe. After a long while, "Lord Lu Xing, it's done." Elder Lu Tong held the triangular crystal pillar in his hand and looked at it. Then, he looked at Qin Yu with an expression as if he had seen a ghost. Seeing Elder Lu Tong's expression, Qin Yu felt apprehensive. However, he still asked, "Elder Lu Tong, what's wrong?" Elder Lu Tong swallowed his saliva and stared at Qin Yu. "Lord, how many Star Emperor level experts are you? Why are you asking this?" Qin Yu said with a smile. Elder Lu Tong looked at Qin Yu with a somewhat fervent gaze. "Lord Lu Xing, to be awarded the Star Identity Crystal, not only does it show one's identity, it also shows that one has been recognized by the Elder Palace. One must reach the high-level king level to be qualified to receive the Star Identity Crystal. This crystal pillar is used to inspect one's identity and strength." "What is my strength?" Qin Yu asked with a smile. Elder Lu Tong placed the crystal pillar in his hand. "Lord Lu Xing, this crystal pillar's inspection of one's strength is very crude. King-level experts are separated into elementary, middle and high levels. Among them, the elementary levels are 1-star to 6-star king-level experts. The middle levels are 7-star to 12-star king-level experts. The high levels are 13-star to 18-star king-level experts. Emperor-level experts are also separated into elementary, middle and high levels. As for Lord Lu Tong stared at Qin Yu. "You are a high-level emperor-level expert. High-level emperor level is high-level emperor level. What is there to be surprised about?" Qin Yu said with a light smile. Lu Tong said with disbelief, "Lord Lu Xing, could it be that you don't know that ever since the previous Gold Punishment Lord ascended, it has been a very long time since a 15-star emperor-level expert has appeared in our Dark Star Realm?" 15-star emperor-level expert? What do you mean by that? Qin Yu was confused. Lu Tong immediately recalled that Qin Yu was an interstellar cultivator. He immediately explained, "Our Dark Star Realm has 3 great sovereigns. In order to become a candidate for the position of sovereign, one must at least reach 15-star emperor level. However, our Gold Punishment Sect, for some unknown reason, has never had a 15-star emperor level expert appear in all these years. Thus, the position of Gold Punishment Lord has always been left vacant." Qin Yu lightly nodded his head. 15-star emperor-level experts were equivalent to level 8 immortal emperors, demon emperors. Qin Yu found it a bit hard to believe. In the enormous Dark Star Realm, could it be that the Gold Punishment Sect did not even have a 15-star emperor-level expert? Elder Lu Tong, not even a 15-star emperor-level expert. "I do not believe it." Qin Yu shook his head and said, Elder Lu Tong also had a helpless expression. He nodded and said, I also do not understand. Back then, when I was still on the sacred planet, I learned from my teacher that in our Gold Punishment sect, other than His Majesty the Gold Punishment Lord, there were two other great experts. One was a 17-star Emperor level expert and the other was a 15-star Emperor level expert. I do not know what is going on right now, but there is actually not a single 15-star Emperor level expert. You're saying there were many powerful experts in the past. Qin Yu discovered that this matter was a bit fishy. Elder Lu Tong continued. 17-star Emperor level is a level that is about to undergo the divine tribulation. That 17-star Emperor level expert might have already undergone the divine tribulation. However, what about that 15-star Emperor level expert? I am unable to believe that he managed to undergo the divine tribulation and ascend in such a short period of time. Sigh, forget about it. In any case, no 15-star Emperor level experts have appeared. This matter is also not something that I, an elder of a planet, can concern myself with. Lu Tong smiled. Qin Yu nodded his head. Exactly what sort of secrets were there in the Dark Star Realm? Who knew? Lu Tong looked to Qin Yu. With a burning gaze, he said, Lord Lu Xing, you're a high-level Emperor-level expert. In other words, you're at least a 13-star Emperor-level expert. Lord Lu Xing, can you tell me whether or not you're a 15-star Emperor-level expert? 15-star Emperor level. Qin Yu knew his own strength very well. Merely by looking at his body, he could tell that he possessed the strength of a 15-star Emperor level expert. However, adding on his miraculous origin life energy, it was not impossible for Qin Yu to take on a 17 or 18-star Emperor level expert. Elder Lu Tong, just pretend that I'm not a 15-star Emperor level expert. Qin Yu said with a light smile. Pretend that. Lu Tong opened his eyes wide. From Qin Yu's words, he had determined that this interstellar cultivator before him should have reached 15-star Emperor level. 15-star Emperor level experts. Which one of them wasn't an outstanding character with a widespread reputation? Lord Lu Xing, I will not tell you. Seeing that Qin Yu trusted him so much, Elder Lu Tong felt proud in his heart. Suddenly, Elder Lu Tong thought of something and said in shock, Lord Lu Xing, you said that you've never entered the 18-trial Dark Star? That's right. Qin Yu nodded. Elder Lu Tong took a deep breath. He looked at Qin Yu and said, Lord Lu Xing, in the history of the Dark Star Realm, there was a Gold Punishment Lord. At the beginning, he did not enter the 18 Emperor-level Dark Stars and merely drifted through the interstellar space to train. He was the same as Lord Lu Xing. That Gold Punishment Lord had reached the pinnacle of his cultivation. At the very most, he was able to reach 16-star Emperor level. That Gold Punishment Lord had once said that if one did not rely on the Dark Stars, it would be impossible for one to reach 17 or 18-star Emperor level. Qin Yu recalled what Yi Chu had said. According to the Gold Punishment Sect's cultivation method, if one did not rely on the gravitational force of the Dark Stars, 16 stars would be the peak. It would appear that what Yi Chu had said was correct. In the history of the Dark Star Realm, only that Gold Punishment Lord managed to reach 16 stars without relying on the Dark Stars. The number of people who managed to reach 15 stars without relying on the Dark Stars could be counted with one's fingers. Never would I have imagined that I, Lu Tong, would be able to meet such a person today. Lu Tong was very excited. This was enough to be recorded in the annals of the Dark Star Realm. Qin Yu smiled. Elder Lu Tong, you don't have to announce this to the public. I also do not wish for the entire world to know about this. Elder Lu Tong nodded. To be able to obtain the confidence of such an expert, Elder Lu Tong was extremely moved. Elder Lu Tong, where's my star identity crystal? Are you not planning to give it to me? Qin Yu said jokingly. Elder Lu Tong started to laugh. My apologies, Lord Lu Xing. I was talking to you and forgot about the matter of bestowing the star identity crystal. Please wait a moment. As he said those words, Lu Tong flipped his hand and took out a 3-colored star diamond. He then placed the 3-colored star diamond into a depression at the bottom of the triangular prism-shaped crystal pillar. That depression was a perfect fit for a 3-colored star diamond. Lord Lu Xing, this crystal pillar will assimilate some information into the star identity crystal. Elder Lu Tong explained. After a short moment, the star identity crystal rolled out from the depression. Qin Yu couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This dark star realm was truly miraculous. Lord Lu Xing, you only need to drip a drop of blood on this star identity crystal. This star identity crystal will assimilate into your palm. After it assimilates, you will naturally be able to use it. Elder Lu Tong handed the star identity crystal to Qin Yu with a smile. Qin Yu received the star identity crystal. After dripping a drop of blood on it, the star identity crystal directly assimilated into his body. So that's how it is. Qin Yu immediately understood. The usage of this star identity crystal was indeed simple. Qin Yu had obtained the star identity crystal. It could be said that his problem had been solved. What he needed to do now was to find an interstellar map that would lead him to the 18 Emperor-level dark stars and the bewitching God Temple. 18 Emperor-level dark stars. Qin Yu really wanted to go and experience them. Merely, Qin Yu was not in a hurry to ask Elder Lu Tong for an interstellar map. Thus, Qin Yu spent a day or two in the Elder's palace. He would frequently chat with this Elder and learn about some of the secrets of the Dark Star Realm. On the 3rd day after Qin Yu arrived at the Elder's palace, Qin Yu and Elder Lu Tong were both in the palace. They were waiting for a group of people from the Gold Punishment Starfield's sacred planet. This group of people were called law enforcers. At the beginning, the law enforcers' responsibility was to hunt down and kill the Emperor-level metal beasts in the Dark Star Realm. Later on, not only did they have to hunt down and kill the Emperor-level metal beasts, they also had to hunt down and kill some of the deranged cultivators of the Dark Star Realm. After all, there were also some extremely wicked people among the cultivators of the Dark Star Realm. Sometimes, the damage caused by those people would be even more frightening than the Emperor-level metal beasts. This group of law enforcers had come to the deep Mulberry Star precisely because of the Emperor-level metal beasts. Elder Lu Tong, the information sent by the law enforcers is truly too frightening. 3 Emperor-level metal beasts had arrived on this planet. We have only killed one. What about the other 2? Qin Yu gasped in admiration. Elder Lu Tong nodded. According to the information sent by the law enforcers, there were 3 extremely powerful Emperor-level metal beasts. The weakest among them was a 7-star Emperor-level metal beast. The strongest among them was actually a 12-star Emperor-level metal beast. 12-star Emperor-level metal beasts. In the entire Dark Star Realm, there was not a single elder from the gravity-gathered planet that was a match for them. Qin Yu recalled that before the 7-star Emperor-level metal beast was killed by him, it had threatened him that its brothers would take revenge. 12-star. Revenge. Qin Yu did not care about it in the slightest. A 12-star Emperor-level metal beast was something that he could kill with a flip of his hand. What was there for him to be worried about? The law enforcers have arrived. Qin Yu suddenly raised his head and looked toward the sky. Elder Lu Tong also raised his head and looked toward the sky. He saw 6 figures rapidly flying toward the Elder's palace. The man leading the group was wearing a silver mask. His eyes were emitting a sharp radiance. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. 15-star Emperor-level expert. 2 days ago, this Elder Lu Tong had told him that there were no 15-star Emperor-level experts in the Gold Punishment sect, and that the position of the Gold Punishment Lord had always been vacant. Yet now he saw a 15-star Emperor-level expert. Furthermore, they were law enforcers. This law enforcer group was very powerful. The leader possessed the strength of a 15-star Emperor-level expert. As for the other 5, not a single one of them possessed strength lower than 10-star Emperor level. The 6 law enforcers were all wearing black clothes. Other than the leader who wore a silver mask, none of the others wore masks. Merely, The gazes of the 6 law enforcers were relatively cold. The silver-masked man leading the group descended. His gaze was fixed on Qin Yu the entire time. "My name is Wen Feng. Who are you?" Lu Xing. Qin Yu had a slight smile on his face. Chapter 443. You're very strong. The leader of the law enforcers, Wen Feng, said as he looked at Qin Yu. You're not bad either. Qin Yu swept his gaze at the 5 people behind Wen Feng and lightly nodded. The law enforcers truly live up to their reputation. No wonder you're able to cause those evil people to be so afraid. The 5 law enforcers behind Wen Feng all looked at Qin Yu. Their gazes were cold. At this moment, Elder Lu Tong immediately laughed and said, I am Elder Lu Tong of the Deep Mulberry Star. This is interstellar ascetic cultivator Lord Lu Xing. Lord Lu Xing is also from our Deep Mulberry Star. Interstellar ascetic cultivator. Wen Feng repeated. Then he clenched his left hand into a fist and placed it on his right chest. He said respectfully, Wen Feng thanks Lu Xing for killing the 7-star Emperor-level metal beast. The 5 enforcers behind Wen Feng also bowed. Qin Yu lightly smiled and said, It was nothing. Oh, that's right. When I was killing that 7-star Emperor-level metal beast, that metal beast had sent me a sound transmission to threaten me. It said that if I killed it, its brothers would come back for revenge. The law enforcer Wen Feng slightly raised the corners of his mouth. It seemed as if he was smiling. I fear that 7-star Emperor-level metal beast's plan was wrong. I reckon that even if its 2 brothers were to join hands, they would still be far from being a match for you. Lu Xing. Qin Yu merely nodded his head slightly. The reason why he had stayed on the Deep Mulberry Star for a couple more days was because he was worried that the 7-star Emperor-level metal beast's brothers would come for revenge. That was why he had stayed for a couple more days. According to Qin Yu's estimations, if the 7-star Emperor-level metal beast's brothers were to come for revenge, it would likely take them a couple more days. And now the law enforcers had arrived. Furthermore, judging by their strength, they should be able to eliminate the 2 surviving Emperor-level metal beasts. There was no need for him to stay any longer. Lord Law Enforcers, please come in and rest. Elder Lu Tong immediately spoke. Among this group of people he, Elder Lu Tong, was the weakest. Law Enforcers. He, Elder Lu Tong, knew very well that the law enforcers were a group of people that chased after those evil people that destroyed the Dark Star Realm. In the inner hall of the Elder's Hall. Elder Lu Tong, these 3 Emperor-class metal beasts first appeared on the Origin Movement planet in the north, planet Feng-Yi. They massacred the entire planet Feng-Yi population of several tens of thousands. Even the Elder of planet Feng-Yi was killed. After that, our enforcers were dispatched. They were mainly split into 3 teams. However, we did not expect the 3 Emperor-class metal beasts to be so powerful. After the 3 Emperor-class metal beasts massacred another Origin Movement planet, one of our enforcers finally intercepted the 3 Emperor-class metal beasts. In the palace hall, Wen Feng explained in detail. Merely the people that we sent out at that time weren't very strong. The strongest person in that law enforcer team was only a 10-star Emperor. Of the 6 people in the small team, 3 were killed and the other 3 fled. However, that 10-star Emperor-level captain had already deduced that among the 3 Emperor-level metal beasts, the strongest one should be around 12-star Emperor level. Of course, we can't rule out the fact that the Emperor-level metal beast is hiding its strength. When Lu Tong heard this, he was shocked. He did not expect that 2 Origin Movement planets would be massacred. If it wasn't for Qin Yu, this Deep Mulberry Star would have been the 3rd. It shouldn't have concealed its strength. Otherwise, it wouldn't have watched as 3 of your people escaped. Qin Yu determined. The masked Wen Feng cast his gaze toward Qin Yu. He nodded and said, I also think so. Furthermore, I have determined the strength of the other 2 Emperor-class metal beasts. One is a 10-star Emperor level and the other is a 7-star Emperor level. There is absolutely no problem. Even if the last one was stronger, It shouldn't be much stronger than these two. Lu Xing, you said. That 7-star Emperor-level metal beast had threatened you before it died, and that its brothers would come and take revenge on you. Wen Feng asked Qin Yu. That's right. Qin Yu nodded. Don't worry. If those 2 Emperor-class metal beasts were to appear, I will immediately discover them. Currently, Qin Yu's immortal awareness had completely covered the entire deep mulberry star. With Qin Yu's current immortal awareness, the amount of soul power consumed to cover the entire deep mulberry star would not affect him at all. You all go and rest first. Wen Feng ordered his subordinates. Yes, my lord. The 5 enforcers saluted and then left the palace hall. At this moment, Wen Feng cast his gaze toward Elder Lu Tong. Elder Lu Tong also tactfully left the palace hall. Immediately, only Qin Yu and Wen Feng remained in the palace hall. Wen Feng looked to Qin Yu. The mask on his face instantly disappeared. Qin Yu's eyes widened slightly. This Wen Feng's appearance had truly shocked Qin Yu. He had never imagined that a person from the Dark Star Realm would have an appearance similar to the people from the Demon Realm. A third eye. To be exact, there was a closed crack on Wen Feng's forehead. However, Qin Yu's immortal awareness was able to discover that there was an eye within the crack. Lu Xing, your strength is sufficient for me to remove my mask. Let me introduce myself first. I am Wen Feng, the newly appointed large captain of the enforcers, a 15-star Emperor-level expert. A rare smile appeared on Wen Feng's face. Qin Yu was unable to figure out what purpose this Wen Feng before him had for treating him like this. My name is Lu Xing, an ordinary interstellar cultivator. Qin Yu introduced himself in a very simple manner. How could an ordinary interstellar cultivator be someone that even I, Wen Feng, am unable to see through? Not long ago, the sacred planet had summoned an expert from the Gold Punishment sect that had reached 15-star Emperor level to the entire Dark Star Realm to become the head of our Dark Star Realm's 3 great sovereigns, the Gold Punishment Lord. I am puzzled. Lu Xing, with your strength, why didn't you go to the sacred planet? Wen Feng directly asked. The 3 great sovereigns of the Dark Star Realm, that was a position that everyone yearned for. As for the Gold Punishment Lord, he was the head of the 3 great sovereigns. His status was even more supreme. Qin Yu smiled and said, Let's not talk about me. What about you? I can tell that you've also reached 15-star Emperor level. However, why didn't you become the Gold Punishment Lord and instead became the large captain of the enforcers? Qin Yu was indeed incomparably puzzled by this. Wen Feng laughed at himself and said, Did you think that I didn't want to become the Gold Punishment Lord? Gold Punishment Lord, the head of the 3 great sovereigns. How revered is his status? The Emperor-level metal beast has arrived. Qin Yu suddenly interrupted Wen Feng's words. Wen Feng also stopped talking. The 2 of them glanced at each other and then disappeared from the palace hall at practically the same time. A ferocious bird whose entire body was composed of blue-colored metal was currently spiraling in the sky. This ferocious bird was the 10-star Emperor-level metal beast. It was currently hesitating whether or not to destroy the deep mulberry star. Second brother, quickly leave. There's an expert here. A voice sounded in the ferocious bird's mind. The ferocious bird felt a burst of fear in its heart. Not good, there's danger. However, right at the moment when it was preparing to use greater teleportation to leave, a hand suddenly appeared out of thin air and grabbed onto its neck. Little bird, you're still trying to escape. A voice with a trace of ridicule sounded. The ferocious bird turned its head to look to the side. The person who grabbed onto its neck was a youth with a slight smile on his face. This ferocious bird simply did not know that a few days ago, its third brother was also grabbed by the same person. At this moment, a figure appeared beside Qin Yu. It was Wen Feng. I let it escape. Wen Feng's expression was somewhat ugly. That 12-star Emperor-level metal beast was hiding in the outer space. It had even set up a spirit formation in its surroundings. This caused me to be unable to directly teleport to its side. Spirit formation. Metal beasts also know how to set up spirit formations. Qin Yu was surprised. Wen Feng laughed at himself. Who knows? This is also the first time I've seen it. However, in history there have been powerful emperor-level metal beasts that had set up spirit formations before. With the intelligence of humans, it is not impossible for them to set up spirit formations. You all had best release me. Otherwise, my big brother will definitely come and kill you all. That ferocious bird actually spoke the human language. Haha. Qin Yu started to laugh. Hey little bird, did you know that a few days ago, that 7-star emperor-level metal beast was also grabbed by me like this? When I was about to kill it, it also threatened me. It was you who killed third brother. That ferocious bird stared at Qin Yu. However, the ferocious bird discovered that after its neck was grabbed by Qin Yu, the golden core in its body was completely enveloped by Qin Yu's metal power. It was simply unable to use any energy at all. Wen Feng, even if that 12-star emperor-level metal beast was in a spirit formation, you shouldn't have been unable to capture it. Qin Yu said puzzledly. After all, Wen Feng was a 15-star emperor-level expert. Wen Feng shook his head and said, being in a spirit formation, one cannot use greater teleportation. That 12-star emperor-level metal beast left the great formation in the blink of an eye from the other side of the spirit formation and fled for its life. How do we deal with this little bird? Qin Yu looked to Wen Feng. Do as you wish. As long as you kill it, its golden core and corpse will naturally be yours. Wen Feng said indifferently. That ferocious bird seemed to feel that doomsday had arrived. It looked to Qin Yu with great fear. Lord, please spare me. As long as you spare me, I will do anything. Indeed, it has the intelligence of a human. Qin Yu praised. Bear. Would he spare it? Qin Yu still remembered that the leader of the law enforcers, Wen Feng, had said that these 3 emperor-level metal beasts had already massacred 2 deep mulberry stars. How could he spare such savage metal beasts? His fingers exerted a bit of force. A sound akin to steel breaking sounded. That 10-star emperor-level metal beast's neck was completely broken. As for its golden core, it was directly taken out by Qin Yu. Wen Feng, I asked you a question earlier. You still haven't answered me. Aren't you a 15-star emperor-level expert? Why didn't you become the new gold punishment lord? Qin Yu was still worried about this question. Wen Feng shook his head and smiled helplessly. I had also once wanted to become the gold punishment lord. Thus I trained diligently. Half a year ago, I finally broke through and reached 15-star emperor level. Only when I returned to the sacred planet did I find out that a super expert had already returned to the sacred planet. That super expert had already been designated as the new gold punishment lord. The official announcement should be made in half a year's time. At that time I felt somewhat helpless. Thus, I became the captain of the law enforcers and went to kill some people to vent my anger. Never would I have expected that you would become the captain of the law enforcers just to vent your anger. Oh, that's right. You said that the new gold punishment lord has already been designated. How strong is that person? Qin Yu asked. Wen Feng clenched his fists tightly and said, the new gold punishment lord's strength is extremely powerful. Terrifyingly powerful. Qin Yu was shocked. Even Wen Feng said that the new gold punishment lord was terrifyingly powerful. In that case, exactly how powerful was this new gold punishment lord? How powerful could he be? Qin Yu said with a smile. Wen Feng said solemnly. No, he is truly very powerful. Back then, I was also very unconvinced as to why he became the new gold punishment lord. Only later did I find out that that person was already an 18-star emperor level expert. 18-star emperor level. Qin Yu was stunned. 17 and 18-star emperor level experts generally possessed souls of level 9 immortal emperors. They were people who were about to undergo the divine tribulation. The possibility of an 18-star emperor level expert appearing was too low. 18-star emperor level expert. In that case, His bones and muscles would be as tough and valiant as a high-quality divine artifact. Qin Yu felt a bit apprehensive. Qin Yu suddenly frowned. How did such an expert appear out of nowhere? Qin Yu looked to Wen Feng and asked, "Where is this super expert from? How did he suddenly appear out of nowhere?" "Dark Star," Wen Feng said solemnly. "The 18th Dark Star of the 18 Emperor-level trial Dark Stars. Lu Xing, you ought to know that those who are able to persist on the 18th Dark Star for 2 hours are considered to be 18-star Emperor-level experts. In all these years, I have never seen anyone go to the 18th Dark Star to train. However, about a year ago, a person suddenly appeared from the interstellar conveying array that connected to the 18th Dark Star." When Wen Feng said this, Qin Yu also understood. All 18 Dark Stars were connected to interstellar conveying arrays. For that person to be able to come out from the interstellar conveying array that connected to the 18th Dark Star, he was most definitely an 18-star Emperor-level expert. Sai, who would have known that there was someone on the 18th Dark Star. Yet that person suddenly appeared. After that person appeared 2 months later, another person appeared from the interstellar conveying array that connected to the 17th Dark Star. Qin Yu couldn't help but be stunned. Another one. That person should be a 17-star Emperor-level expert. It would appear that the Gold Punishment Lord's position was not snatched away by you in vain. Oh, that's right, how did these 2 super experts suddenly appear? Wen Feng smiled bitterly. How would I know? Looking at the records of the interstellar conveying arrays, the 17th and the 18th Emperor-level Dark Star were sent to the interstellar conveying arrays. The last time they were sent to the interstellar conveying arrays was several hundred years ago. The majority of the people thought that even if there were people that entered the interstellar conveying arrays in the past, they would have been crushed to pieces by the frightening pressure and died. Who would have thought that after so many years they would return? Qin Yu nodded and joked. It is indeed very frightening. What if a dozen or 20 people suddenly appeared from the 18th Emperor-level Dark Star? Imagine that scene. Wen Feng's entire body went numb after hearing what Qin Yu said. It is extremely rare for people to enter the 17th and 18th Emperor-level Dark Star to train in. Similarly, no one knows whether or not there are super experts bitterly training in those 2 Dark Stars. Wen Feng sighed. Qin Yu nodded. Men, it's time to proceed to the 18th Emperor-level trial Dark Star. Qin Yu thought in his heart. You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.